Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the prettiest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this town?
Sure enough.
Well, who am I?
Sure enough.
Who am I?
Sure enough.
I can't hear you.
Stop whining. That means that we punched our ticket to go try to win a Super Bowl, and that's it. We got one game at a time, starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Love y'all, boys. Love you. Love you. I'll go to war with every single one of you, every freaking game, all right? Love you, 1-7. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Win.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have me douse, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can. Just tell me that I can.
It's showtime.
Welcome to Friday Night Lights on the Buffalo Fan Base Network. I'm your host, Tommy, to the highest degree, to the TOP, from the 313. And by my side is my main man, my toucan Sam, the one they call the Apex Man, Mr. Mikey, Mr. California himself. What is going on, Mikey? Happy Friday to you, and happy Friday to all of Bill's Mafia out there rocking with us on this Friday night.
Yeah,
well,
I'm excited. It's the weekend. Draft is over.
Yeah.
I have calmed down about the players that I wanted, the positions we got. I was okay with. Wanted different players. You know, I've turned the page like I did last year when I wanted different guys, and I'm gonna root for these Buffalo Bills. Right.
And we got somebody telling WGR.
Stop whining. Stop whining.
Right. We got a little fiery Brandon Beane. We're going to actually open the show up with this video, with this audio clip of Brandon Beane, who was a guest on their show. I think it was the day after the draft. And you get this is the first time I hear a fiery Brandon Beane, and we're going to talk about it after. If we're going to see, I want your opinion, because we talked about it very briefly, me and you, Mikey, but we didn't really go into depth. But I do want your opinion, and obviously the chat's opinion. Was Brandon Beane right or wrong on how he handled this? But let's go ahead and play this in case you guys missed it, which I'm sure most of you heard it, but we're going to go ahead and play it now. All right, here we go. I
was just listening to the last few minutes of your show before I came on, waiting on here.
All right.
Sounds like 2018 all over with you guys.
Well, how so?
Well, you guys were bitching in 2018 about Josh Allen. You guys wanted Josh Rosen, and now you guys are bitching that we don't have a receiver. I don't get it. Like,
stop whining.
We just hold on, let me talk. We just scored 30 points in a row for 8 straight games. A year ago, I get you guys asking why we didn't have receivers, but I don't understand it now. You just saw us lead the league in points when you add all the postseason. No one scored more points than the Buffalo Bills, including the Super Bowl champions. So you just saw us do it without Stephon Diggs, same group. How is this group not better than last year's group? Our job is to score points and win games. Where do we need to get better? Defense. We did that. So I get it. You got to have a show, and you got to have something to bitch about.
Stop whining.
Bitching about wide receiver is one of the dumbest arguments I've heard.
Okay. I mean, I wish you'd listened to the 2 hours and 25 minutes before that, because there's plenty of things we do like about your draft. And I find it curious the energy you're coming at us with, but I mean that's your choice.
I get it. I'm just like, let's be realistic. Our job is not to have. It's not fantasy football, like to trot out the best receivers. You got Josh Allen. First thing you got to do is protect him. You can't have everything. You can't have Pro Bowl wide receivers and have a Pro Bowl offensive line and an All-Pro quarterback and 3 great running backs. Like you gotta pick. Sure, I'd love to play fantasy football, but there's one football, Jeremy. There's one ball. You can't give it to but so many people. So that's where I'm like, I don't understand this narrative. I felt it a little bit from a couple of the reporters and the thing. Like, our job is to score points. It doesn't matter what receivers, what quarterback, what. If you score points at the level we scored, that is winning football.
Okay.
All right.
I got 2 things.
Yeah.
One, I'm not up to the Brandon Beane for saying what was on his mind. You know, I tip my cap to a guy who's willing to do it. But everything he named saying you can't have, the Eagles do have. So don't tell me it can't be done.
Correct.
Now, number 2,
I agree with you there.
And number 2 piece there is he said, how are we not better today? Well, we lost 2 receivers from last year's and we replaced them at that time with 1. So you're telling me Josh Palmer was better than Cooper and Hollins combined?
Good point, Mikey. Good point.
Now, today, I agree with him. We're better today than we were last year within the wide receiver room, now that we've added Elijah Moore. But at that time, I don't believe we were better.
I agree with I agree with that. I thought like I said, we spoke about this briefly. This could backfire. Let me backtrack. Whenever a GM or a coach does these rants, because that's what it was. It was kind of a rant that he went on there. He was a little fiery. It could backfire, and I'm not saying it will, but he opened that door, right? He did open the door now. So if things don't work out in the wide receiver room, and I'm going to give you an example. Last year, he made a great point when he said, "Hey, I can see if you guys were bitching about last year. We lost Diggs. We lost our 1 and 2 with Diggs and Gabe Davis. But look what we did, right? However, we did go out and get Cooper during the season because our wide receiver room was not playing its best, right? So in all actuality, it wasn't great at one point during the season last year. The wide receiver room wasn't really good when you have our 5th receiver being your number 1 option at sometimes in Mac Hollins. So with that being said, I just felt like he came off a little fiery, a little angry. The fantasy football was a low blow. I thought, like, these guys. Look. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't
Josh
listen to their
Rosen,
show. Yeah, right. Right. Like, look. I'm going to be honest. I don't listen to their show. Like, I don't know those guys, and I know they've been on the air for a while, and I'm sure he knows that they like. I don't know how he knows, but I'm sure he's been listening to for them a while. For him to take the jab, saying the Josh Rosen. He clearly has been listening while and taking notes, by the way, right? Why would he say that, right? He's throwing a jab there going, oh, yeah, you guys over there in fucking 2018 bitching, wanting Josh Rosen. Yeah, where will we be today? Like, basically, right? But look, at the end of the day, Elijah Moore was already in talks with the Buffalo Bills prior to the draft. I think the Buffalo Bills and Elijah Moore basically had a talk and say, hey, we're going to talk to you after the draft. And by the way, this isn't like a first time, and me and you've talked about this. Brandon Beane has been known to go and shop for more free agents after the draft and pick up some quality ones at that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he did with Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore, it was a hell of a pickup. But like I said, I just felt like he could have handled it better. And he also, if it backfires, it's going to really come at him. Now, look, I don't think he's wrong. I'm not saying he's wrong in what he's saying. And I will say, to your point, you're right. We lost 2. We only gained 1 at the time with Palmer. But that, like, they're assuming that Beane didn't have any plans, and he's not going to tell them his plans, right? Just because that's what GMs don't want to tell people what they're planning to do or what free agents are talking to. So I get it, but this is reporting. I'll be honest with you too. I don't mind. I love the fact that reporters like them or people that are like podcasts or radio guys aren't afraid to ask those kind of questions or talk about that stuff. Like, so the GM he really shouldn't have kind of fired at him, but I understand his point. But I just felt like maybe he handled it wrong, knowing, hey, this is how,
I don't feel he handled it wrong. And here's why. Okay. Mark says in here, it says, if you listen to them right before he came on, they were basically challenging him and, said, let's see what he has to say about it. So he said what was on his mind.
See, like I said, I didn't listen to the whole
itching thing and dropping the cuss words. Beane does that from time to time.
He's a real dude. Yeah, I don't. That part doesn't bother me, Mike. I just felt like he was a little, like, really putting him down with the fantasy foot. Like once again, I don't. Once he went in,
I don't think he could stop himself. He just had to let it go.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like he was wrong. You know what I mean? And let's be real. He's done a great job here in Buffalo. He's done what he can, especially with this cap space that we have, with the draft. You got to remember, we draft late in every round because we're a good football team. So I get where he's coming from, where we can't have all pros and Pro Bowlers in every single position. And I get where you're coming from, saying, hey, the Eagles do, but
it's not just the
Eagles. No, I know, but I'm saying you brought up the Eagles, so I'm going with them. But let's be real, the Eagles were not as good of a winning team a year or two ago, right? They were okay. No, I'm talking about before that, before the Super Bowl last year. I'm talking about before that, a couple years back. They were still kind of
2 years ago. They were in the Super Bowl.
I understand that, but
then they had the best record, flamed out at the end of the season,
right? But they flamed out and got good draft picks. So my point is, like, they had an area, right? They had a spot where they could draft a top 10 because they had a down year. When's the last down year we've had?
Oh no, that's the part that you're missing. They didn't have the down year to draft the top 10. They traded a pick and got out of the first round to get that.
Well, then that makes sense. So that makes sense.
And that's where I think we're missing the pieces. Like, listen, Howie Roseman's hit home runs on his draft pick, where Beane's hitting doubles. He's not hitting home runs with his, high picks.
I feel like he's hitting. Listen, a lot of our draft picks we've given extensions to, the Bernards, the Benfords. Right. There's a lot of guys that runs. You're right. No, I'm with you. There isn't, except for Josh Allen. You were 1,000% right. Right. He hasn't, and that's why I thought this draft he would be a little bit more aggressive and maybe swing for a home run type player. Which you can, but in all actuality, you have to give up a lot, right? To really, I'm just saying first round wise, right? To really go and be super aggressive, get in the top 15. And I don't know if we've talked about this. I don't know if Brandon Beane would do that, unless it was something like a quarterback, right? Which we already got, right? I just don't know if he values. I think he values his picks way too much, highly, to give up a second round, let's say, or a third, multiple, draft selections to move up that aggressively. If it wasn't for a quarterback, you know what I'm saying? When's the last time we drafted a wide receiver? I think our average wide receiver that we drafted in the round was around 4. They said 4 through 5.
He doesn't take swings on wide receivers. Here's my take on that. Let's just look at the Bills versus the Eagles, right? So just take last year's draft class. We trade out of the first round, we get Coleman, and then we get Bishop. Mm-hmm. 2 guys who didn't play very much down the stretch. Just take the Eagles. They took Quinyon Mitchell, and then they took the corner out of Iowa. Can't think of his name. Cooper DeJean.
Yeah.
Both guys who played a lot and hit right away.
Yeah.
That's the difference when I'm talking about, your draft picks. And it could just be philosophy. It could be that we're looking for the high upside, not the short-term upside. There's a lot of reasons why this could be happening, but
true.
When you have those guys hit early, let's go 2 years back to the Chiefs. The Chiefs, after they traded Tyreek Hill, went defense heavy, and they hit. They hit on McDuffie. They hit on Karofis. They hit on some late round guys like Watson and those guys at corner. They hit on Bolton, who was a day 2 pick. They're hitting on those guys. Go back a year before, they hit on Creed Humphreys. They hit on a late Trey Smith.
Yeah.
When you hit on those guys, you know what I mean? It makes it, and they're playing early and often. The Bills have been very veteran heavy. We're turning our roster over right now. So a lot of the guys we got this year, I think you're going to see. You're going to see Sanders. You're going to see Harrison. You're going to see Landon Jackson. You're going to see Walker. Those top 4 picks are all probably going to play a ton this year.
I don't know about Walker. Yeah, you're talking about the. Well, here's the deal with Walker. He's still he has, from what I heard, he has to get over some type of injury. Back
injury. He's healthy enough. Which we played today, he could play. They're just going to take him easy.
I get that, but back injuries are very, especially with a player that big, in that position where you have to get in that heavy. Think about Spencer Brown, right? I'm just throwing that out there because it took a while for him. And I'm not saying it's the same case. I have no idea how severe this is or if it could be mild back to problems. Who knows? I'm just saying that I want to be so sure that he's going to start right away until we really know. I'm just saying, until we rotation, whatever, either way, be impactful. I got to see in training camp how this back thing works, how many reps he's getting throughout camp and preseason.
Just the first 3, because those guys are going to be
Sanders, right? Okay, so here's the deal with
Jackson, Harrison.
Right, I think Harrison is. I think he's your starter. I think he will be on the field. I think he's your CB2, unless something crazy happens. Unless he is not, he's a Kyrie Elam. Right. And in camp, he just flops. Other than that, I see him as a CB2. TJ Sanders, interesting. He is your pass rusher, right? And I was listening to prior to this post podium, and he had Mookie Hawk. They had Mookie on there, and Mookie made a great point. He's like, look, because they were kind of like, hey, we need a 1 tech, and and I get that. Me and you were talking about that. Hey, Collins was available. But he was saying, look, what has been our thorn? Been third downs, passing downs. What do we need? We need to get to the quarterback, right? Which we failed to do. And and I really didn't think about that. And it makes a lot of sense on why they went TJ Sanders. And he even said, look, they took him that early or they traded up because they didn't think he'd be there at 56 or 58 whenever we were drafting in the second round. So I get it. I totally understand it and I understand that they thought they could have got the 1 tech, which they did later on in the 4th round. So I don't agree with it. For me, I would have went with the 1 tech early on. Got Collins, yes, for me. But I also understand where Mookie's coming from. And yes, that is correct. The 3rd down. And we talk about this all season, every season, actually, over the last 2. Why can't we get teams off a fucking 3rd down?
3rd and long is the worst. 3rd and long is the worst thing for the Bills.
The worst thing.
Here's 2 things around that. One, I get it. I listened to Buffalo Plus. I listened to Shout. I listened to Joe Marino. I listened to Cover One. They all were saying the same thing when they talk about the fans want a true plugger 1 tech. Buffalo doesn't want that. They want pass rushers. They want shoot the gaps. They don't want to plug. Even Walker at his size, you would think he's going to be a 1 tech.
I know he's
that
not.
Guy plays finesse. Jordan Phillips at his size, he played finesse. The Bills don't want that big, run stuffing plugger. They just don't. It's not their archetype.
It's not, and I feel like that's a McDermott thing, and that's a wrong way to go because it hasn't worked. You need a guy in that middle there, a 1 tech that can move 2 bodies. And then, you know what I mean? Like that can literally move people. a people mover. And that's when Ed Oliver eats. That's when everybody else eats. Gregor Rousseau, a Joey Bosa, right? A Solomon. Like, but if you don't have that guy that's gonna, a people mover, it's gonna be the same old story we've seen. Teams that are physical are going to outplay us. They're going to win the trenches, and that's what's been our biggest weakness on that line has been run defense, winning in the trenches. It's been atrocious. It's the D tackles. Absolutely.
So here's the way McDermott likes to play. He wants to compress the pocket. He wants your outside guys, and he doesn't want those long, bendy rushers that open up, escape hatches. He wants his defensive ends to, crunch from the outside, the inside guys push back and collapse the pocket. That's what he wants. And what we've had in the past is we'll get the push from the outside, but the inside guys haven't been doing it.
Right.
And we went out and we got a TJ Sanders. We got a Walker. We got Ed now. We still have Daquan. Those are the guys that we're going to expect to start to add. Having a backup to Ed that can play 3-tech or 1-tech in pass and, 3-tech. And I don't want to call it 1-tech anymore. They want just defensive tackles. They don't really want a 1 and a 3. They just want 2 interior tackles who can rush the passer.
Right.
I'm not even calling them like the actual
forget about it. Yeah.
positions. They want 2 game wreckers on the inside. That's what they want.
Yeah.
So we'll put in those third and longs, Ed and Sanders together.
Right.
And figure it out from there. I mean, I don't understand why they don't move Groot on the inside.
I don't either.
Let him play over guard.
I wish they would. This guy is a physical freak. He's a freak. He can go anywhere on the line. Why don't you get more creative when it comes to Groot? And not only that, get creative with Solomon and the rest of it. You got Landon Jackson now. You could throw a lot of different looks out there on defense with those types, because Landon Jackson's a freak too. He's kind of like a Rousseau, not as polished obviously yet, but he's a freak. He is. The dude can. I don't think he's as bendy as Groot, but he can get there. He can learn. The NFL is going to help him out a lot. He's fresh at that position too. Same with Solomon. Solomon gets to the quarterback. So I just hope Bobby Babich, Sean McDermott can start getting more creative on that defensive line with these players. I will say this too. You made a good point earlier when you were talking about the defense. You know what I like what I really like about this offseason so far? It looks like we're finally going into the direction of getting younger. Instead of just every year was this, let's go out and get this, 9-year vet. Who's on his last leg, right? Let's start getting these young guys in here with Bobby Babich, right? And start developing our younger guys and get this going, man. So I like that. I do. I see the direction they're going in, and I understand. And we've said it a million times. The defense is what has been the issue, the real problem. The defense has failed us more than the offense, big time. It's not even close when it comes to playoff football. We're not talking about regular season. Who cares about regular season? We're talking about playoff football. We know we're a playoff team. We're always a playoff team. We will always be with Josh Allen. The problem is when we get to the playoffs, our defense collapses, has a total collapse. And it comes at the worst times, the worst moments, the worst games. And it has to get better. And I think exactly. And I think they addressed it. I do. I think they finally are understanding that's not working anymore. Like the whole, let's sign this guy to 1 year, it's aging vet. We have to go young. And that's what they're doing. And I hope it works, obviously. But yeah. So Mikey, this offseason so far, and who knows what else we do. Have we gotten better or worse? Or we stayed the same? Like where do you feel that we've gotten
better?
Okay.
Me too. In the secondary, we've gotten better. Our floor is higher. Our ceiling is higher now. So we've raised the floor and the ceiling. Bringing in Trey and Dane Jackson raised the floor in the CB room. Yeah. Drafting Harrison raised the ceiling in the CB room. Right. And then, bringing in Hancock helped, the slot raise the floor and the ceiling in the slot. And on the back end, bringing in Forrest. Have a second year Bishop, bringing in Forrest who can play true center field. That helps as well. So our back end has gotten better. Our linebackers has pretty much stayed the same. It's the same crew from last year. It was good. It's fine. And
it was, and you're getting a, I would say, and let's cross our fingers, knock on wood. We're going to get
Milano.
Right. Going into camp. No, just watch the tackling dummies this year. Please.
Yep. And then up front, we replaced Vaughn,
we did.
with Bosa.
Yep.
As much as I love Vaughn, Bosa's a younger guy. They both had injury history recently.
Yes,
on the field, Bosa's game is different than Vaughn's game. Bosa's game is compress the pocket, not go around, which is what McDermott wants. And then on the backup side, we replaced some of the other guys on the interior, like Phillips and those two people, with some of the young rookies. So we got Jackson now, who is probably going to push AJ Epinesa down to DN 4 or 5, depending on what Solomon.
Very curious. I'm glad you talked about that or brought that up.
Yeah.
Very curious what they do with Epinesa. Very curious because trade bait, possible trade. They've done this before this season. And would you hate it? I wouldn't hate it. I really would. I like AJ, I do, but I think I also like the other players better that we have.
I think someone's going to be out. I don't know if it happens right away. It might be mid-season because with Michael Hoyt, who's also an edge rusher that we're going to have.
You're right. He's out 6 games.
He's out 6 games. So we may have Epinesa at the beginning. Yep. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But then on the interior, us bringing in Walker and Sanders, now raises the floor behind what we had. And with Sanders not knowing, and say what you want about Walker, his 2023 tape had him as a first-round talent. Even if you didn't like his game, it was what it was.
I'm with you.
A lot of scouts and GMs felt that way. Beane came out and said it. So his back gets him back to what he looked like in 2023. Our floor has risen and our ceiling has risen on the inside. So from a defensive standpoint, across the board, we're better. On offense, our quarterback room's the same. Our running back room's the same. Our tight end room, we did go out and get a kick-ass blocker tight end.
Yeah, we did.
So we'll have to see how that plays out. Maybe we put him behind Josh Allen on those tush pushes. And then in our wide receiver room, we said goodbye to Hollins and we said goodbye to Cooper, but we brought in Palmer, who's younger, and we brought in Elijah Moore, who's younger. So you want to call it a push? I think it's better today because I think those 2 players are better than 2 players that we got rid of. So at the end of the day, our team has to be better just by the fact of what we just went through. We've raised the floor in most rooms and we've raised the ceiling in most rooms.
I agree. You want to get some the chat? I know we're not trying to. We'll get to it now.
Yep. Sorry, we were just going through that piece. There was a lot of talk about Moore as the inside, as the outside. He was projected to be a slot coming out, and everyone thought that's where he would excel.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually plays outside more than he plays in the slot so far in his career.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I think you're going to see a lot of mixed baggage. Like last year, we saw, Keon on one side, we saw Cooper on the other side, we saw Shakir in the slot. I think this year you're going to see Keon on the outside. I think you're going to see Palmer on the outside, and then I think you're going to see Moore and Shakir like all over the place at times. I wouldn't be surprised to see Keon in the slot some this year. I think it's going to switch up a little bit more this year. And you're going to see guys all over the place because we have guys who can play multiple positions. They're not just pegged into like slot only. They can play inside or outside, and that's what we want.
Yeah, I listen. Looking at this wide receiver room now, okay, I get it. We don't have a superstar. We don't no Justin Jefferson, no Jamar Chase. But I gotta say, I like the room. I think every player, every receiver we got on this team now, they all do something really. They all have like a good skill set of what they can do really well, right? Palmer, for instance, not the fastest, but he's a great route runner. Can get separation. And what do we need last year? We need someone who can run routes. Separate, right? there's your guy, right? Boom, there he is.
Now we got 2 of them out there.
Right. And now we need it over the top.
And
guys.
really 3 because we brought in Palmer, who's also a separator.
That's what I mean. That's what I say, Palmer, right?
Oh, I was talking about Moore too. More,
right? So more
elite separators.
Exactly. Now you got the over the top and Moore, which runs a 4-3, right? A separator, a guy that's been around. He's not old, but he's been around, right? 4 years, I think, in the league. So he knows defense. He's not, and his numbers keep going up year after year with bad quarterback play, by the way. So I'm very interested to see what he does with Josh Allen. Obviously, his best quarterback he's ever played for. Then you got Khalil Shakir, who also can play multiple positions. I've seen him. But they all bring something to the table. They all do. Keon Coleman, right? He's our big, right? He's the guy that red zone threat. He's the guy that could box out, right? We have a lot. And we have Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid still. So I feel like this, by the way, too, our wide receiver room is not slow by any means. Like, it's not. You got guys that run. And I forgot one. Curtis Samuel, who was injured most of last year, came on strong at the end or started playing really better once his turf toe started feeling better. The other injury he had. He's going to be healthy going into camp. So we have a lot of pieces of this everybody eats offense. And I feel like if Joe Brady can get a little better. This is going year 3 of his offensive coordinator as far as the NFL, Carolina to Buffalo. I think even he can get better as an offensive coordinator and start getting more creative, which I think he will, especially now that he has every kind of position or every type of skill set in the receiver room that he can work with now, right? There is no like one position where we're like, oh man, we don't have any bigs, right? No, we got a big. We got Keon Coleman, right? We got that. We don't have any speed. No, we have speed now, right? So he has a lot, I feel like, in his bag to work with this year, right? And not to mention the running backs who are also can catch the ball off the backfield. Yeah, so
all 3 of them.
We're good. Like I'm confident in this offense. I am. I feel like this offense not only will match, I think they'll match and be better than they were last year. So it's going to be exciting to see this offense come together and gel, right? Like get together, figure it all out, which they did last year, but the new additions, figure it out, get chemistry with Josh early on in camp. The new guys I'm talking about, Palmer and Moore. And once that happens, bro, we're good to go. The only thing I will say, one thing, and I'll let you go. Or let you talk more. The only thing I hate about these 1-year contracts is, man, it's like it sucks they're only here 1 year. So let's say Moore is they build a chemistry. Moore plays even better than he did in Cleveland, right? Which I assume he could. You got a better quarterback now, right? Well, now you might want to extend him, right? Because 1 year it sucks. It's like a loner. So I hope. My feeling is, and I know it's way too early, but I hope Beane understands, the talent that Moore has, and maybe can extend him at some point of the season if that connection with Allen and him are going good, because you don't want to let that kind of guy walk. Because guess what? We're going to be right back finding that guy, looking for that guy in the offseason again or through the draft.
Yeah,
that's my point. And he's young. Yeah. So. Go ahead.
Okay. So to hit on your point on Moore, I do, as Kevin is saying here, if he hits with Josh early, I can see us reaching out and trying to get something done with him to lock him.
Right.
We're not gonna let him leave. Because we did that with a lot of guys, right? We bring them in for the 1 year, we see if they hit, and then we
Floyd.
Yeah.
Right.
But then we talk. If they don't hit, then we let them leave. Correct. Even when we brought in Beasley was only really, they called it a 3-year contract, but really it was a 1 and out.
Yeah.
And he hit, and we just kept him. The difference is, they want to come in and show where his value is. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. The thing I like about Moore is Moore brings that 4.35 deep speed that we've been waiting for. There's the one thing we're missing in the room. Like, so if Samuel breaks a nail and he can't play, it's okay because we have Moore.
We have that, right?
Who can do those things.
And he shows it on tape, by the way, too. There's some guys that don't show their speed on tape. he shows it. The dude is fast, bro. Yeah, go ahead.
See, Palmer runs a 4.4. He's not slow by any means, but he knows how to stack and separate. So he can be a deeper threat at times. You can have Moore, who actually lives in the comebacks and the outs and the crossers. Like that's where, more than the just running straight speed.
Yeah, you don't need to throw a deep. By the way,
routes.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Yeah. And by the way, too, sorry to cut you off. You don't need a Moore type player to go deep every time to get those big chunk yards. Mm-hmm. Those kind of players who have that kind of speed, like you said, you can hit him with a slant and he could take it 30 yards upfield or to the house because of the speed, right? That's why Tyreek Hill is so awesome. He doesn't always need to go. You can throw a 2-yard pass, Tyreek Hill, and because of the speed, he takes it to the house 80 yards later, right? So I'm just saying, like, we don't, he doesn't need to be always over the deep. Like that kind of player can create separation enough where a simple 5-yard hook or a slant, crosser, gone.
Just like that. Blocking downfield and he's gone.
Yeah.
It's the home run threat that James Cook is. James Cook will go 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 18 yards, 16 yards, 11 yards, 80 yards. Right. It's that home run ball that James Cook has in his bag. You know what I mean? That makes him so exciting as a player. Because there's a lot of times it's 2 yards in a cloud of dust. And it drives us crazy. We're like, okay, put somebody else in, figure this out because it's not working tonight. And then he catches a crease and he's gone.
Yeah.
Having more.
You can't teach speed.
Yeah. I mean, Shakir, he's a 4.4 guy who has great yak. Now you have a 4.3 guy, 4.35 guy in there who is really good at that. So we have the big, tall guy, jump ball guys. We have the speed guys. We have the possession guys with knocks and people like that. So I'm interested to see how this team comes together. I now agree with what Brandon Beane said on Monday, and he probably knew that Moore was coming in. There was a comment in the chat earlier saying when he went on there, he knew Moore was coming here. So he it's probably why he didn't go out and get the Thompsons or the Torrey Hortons or those guys that we want him to trade up for, because he knew in his back pocket he had Elijah Moore. And he felt,
exactly,
that guy's as good as these guys. I'm going to keep going with my defense and my special
proven, young.
Mm-hmm.
Not like he's old. This isn't a Cooper situation. And they had good conversation before the draft. Because Moore would have been signed probably already. I'm sure Moore, there was teams interested other than the right. So it is curious that Moore waited. And come on, man, who doesn't want? I'm just being let's be real. He had an opportunity to play with Josh Allen, right? He's played with some garbagey teams, right? You know what I mean? Do you really want to go and play for another garbagey team? And I'm not saying there's all garbage teams looking for him or trying to get him, but if the opportunity was there, and I'm sure it was, and Beane said, hey, let's just talk, and look, it happened. It happened literally, a day or two after, right? It didn't take long, right?
It was 2 days after the draft. He was in Buffalo. So that tells me that on day 3 of the draft, when I'm screaming, move up for Horton, move up for, these receivers that I wanted, and Brandon Beane saying, shut up, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm going to go ahead and take my defensive players and my special team, the guys that I want, and I'm pissed off.
You had no idea.
Elijah Moore in his back pocket that was coming to Buffalo in 2 days.
Right. Elijah Moore is probably he's probably in the hallway during the draft.
Just waiting, like, okay, he'd already had those conversations going in, saying, okay, if we don't draft one, because I think they plan on drafting one if the board fell the right way. If we don't get one, we'll bring you in and we'll figure this out. Brandon Beane, and I said this on day 2 and day 3 of the draft. I sit here and I complain about the guys that I want. Brandon Beane knows way more football than I do.
And so do the scouts, by the way.
Yes.
That's what they're paid to do.
I'm a fan. I'm fanning on here. I'm going to say what I feel. But you know what? I'm happy with what Brandon Beane has done now in the wide receiver room because he brought in that speed that we were looking for.
And youth.
If
you look at our receiver room, it's pretty young. Like, I mean, honestly, I don't know about
Who's
Samuel. How long?
Say Samuel.
Maybe Samuel, right? And he's not even that old, right? He has to be, right? So, and he's not old, right? So, I like I said, I feel like this team is starting this kind of a youth movement in a way, and I love it. I really, really do. But yet you still got a little pieces here and there that are the vets that I also like too. The Trey White, bringing him back.
Mm-hmm.
It's good because why? Because we have a young cornerback room. You got a guy that's been there, done that. Not only has been there, done that, he knows the system better than anyone in the fucking room. Who else better can you have than an former all pro who's been in Buffalo, knows the scheme, perfect guy to look up to, ask questions to. And then you got Joey Bosa, who, once again, just like when we signed Von Miller, and the other thing with the Von Miller signing was we were getting his wisdom. Like the players were getting that wisdom. Mm-hmm. They could pick his brain. Well, guess what? We have another guy now in there. Yeah. So the young guys like Solomon. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. So now Solomon, the young guys, Groot, they can talk to Bosa. Hey, they can work on their craft. We pick his brain. So that's the other flip side of having a veteran that's been there, done that in Bosa. So I like the little veterans we have in the offense and defensive side of things. So I like what they're doing. Like I do. And I get it now. Yeah, exactly.
The floor's high, the ceiling's higher, and we've flipped this roster from an aging veteran team to a younger team. Josh is one of the true older veterans now on this team.
Yeah, what the fuck? Great.
Jason comes in and asks, do we have any cap left? We do. And Brandon Beane will make moves over the summer.
Yeah.
To free up some more.
Sure.
It's one of those things. I'm not worried about the cap. The cap's going to be just fine. They spent last year fixing the cap.
Right. Yeah.
Is Cook going to hold out or give his best effort? Yes, because he wants that money. I don't think he's going to hold out. He'll give his best effort. I don't think he's going to hold out.
He's not going to hold out. I'll tell you why he's not going to hold out. Because I feel like Cook wants to prove now that the Bills are making a mistake. Mm-hmm. He's going to play his ass off, and he's going to try to be that $20 million, right? That Diggs his older brother, I guess, feels that he's worth. Okay, cool. Go out there, do your thing, and if you do it, you do have a repeat season, right, or close to it, right? I want to see better production on to be honest with you, on yards. I want to see a little bit more, carries as far as that goes too, and that's up to Brady. But if he can match that and do it a little bit better, then you know what? Okay, fine. I'm not saying 20. I'm saying he has the argument to go, hey, I'm a free agent now. I can go. This is my value. I did it 3 years in a row, whatever. 3 years. Over 1,000, 3 straight years. I did, 15 plus touchdowns over the 2 years. You know what I mean? Like each season. Mm-hmm. So then he can really have the argument of going, hey, I'm a 13 million. I'm a 14 million guy. You know what I mean? Like right now, I don't think he has the argument. Like I don't see. And that's why I'm against it. Right. And
here's the problem with Cook. Unless he figures out how to pass block on third downs, you can't keep him out there.
Pass protect. Yep.
I'm with you. No one's going to give James Cook $15 million to be a 2-down running back.
No, it's not going to happen.
So at the end of the day, it is. I want to hit Weston's question here. He says, what do you think about the cost control 3 or 4 years, though, if you draft a guy? I'm team draft a receiver every year and randomly go get throw a dart, because wide receiver is one of the most expensive rooms in football positions.
Yeah.
It's quarterback, it's receiver, it's corner, it's defensive end. I mean, all positions are really starting to get crazy amounts of money, but $30 million a year for a freaking receiver is nuts.
It is.
I would be throwing darts every year at receiver. I like what the Chiefs are doing. I'm liking what the Chiefs are doing. They went Rice, and then they went Worthy, and this year they grabbed another one. Like, I like what they're doing. They just keep throwing darts because you're going to hit on one of them sooner or later. He missed on more. That happens. You know what I mean? You're going to miss. Yeah. You're going to miss on some. But I would invest every year. Now, randomly, I would invest a day 1 or day 2 pick and not just always a day 3 pick like Beane has. But I also can't, call him out for it because Josh Allen's been really good with what he plays with.
I think so. I think he understands the situation. One, we haven't really. if we go, I get where you're going. By the way, I'm with you. Like I would draft a receiver every year, not necessarily first or second round, unless we were really depleted. But I would draft one around the third, fourth, like for sure, because there's hits all the time. You could find receivers all the time, and someone's going to hit. I mean, look in the NFL every year. There's a 6th rounder, 5th rounder, 7th. I mean, that hit that wind up being really good receiver. Puka Nacua was a 6th round draft pick. I mean, just throwing that out there. So, but going back, we've had. I mean, if you go back to 2018, his first draft ever, he had to go. Do what he had to do. Right, it was his first year. Had to get the quarter. Like I got all that. It was kind of a, that was our shitty year. No receivers, right? Then 2019, I felt like he addressed it with the free agency, right? And I felt like, getting the veterans helped Allen instead of younger guys. I was cool with that with the John Brown and Cole Beasley. And then 2020,
I loved that.
Yeah, exactly. That. And if you think about it, 2020, technically, Diggs is the 1st round draft pick. We traded a 1st round draft pick for Stephon Diggs. So technically, Brandon Beane, I'm just throwing this out there, technically, he has drafted a receiver in the 1st round. I'm just saying.
We didn't get the 5-year cost controlled contract.
I get it. I know, but
you cannot use that.
I get it, but it was count. Almost. I'm just saying. Kind of was a.
You
I
stay
get
in the
it.
draft. You take Justin Jefferson.
I'm with you. Of course, we can rewind, but we weren't bitching and complaining when that happened.
I'm still not bitching and complaining about that. It was a good trade, but I can't say Beane used a day 1 or day 2 pick on Stephon, on a wide receiver because he traded one for Stephon Diggs because we had to pay him right away.
Now, this is where I feel like he kind of Beane after those years, after a year or two after when we got he kind of it felt like we just weren't not caring at that point. Like
after the 13-second game, because that receiver room was the best receiving room we've ever had. That was Gabe as wide receiver.
Sanders.
4. We had Sanders. We had Beasley. We had Diggs. Like that team, that offense, is still might be my favorite offense that we've ever had.
I agree. Because you had the safety blanket in Beasley. You had Diggs, who was a great route runner, separator, and you had Sanders, who still had a little speed to him, and was the veteran in good hands and good route running as well. So I'm with you. That was a fun offense for sure. But once again, man, I am because like I said earlier, I feel like the receiver room they bring something a little bit different to the table. But I don't know, like will Beane ever, or do you go and draft a receiver in the 1st, 2nd round? Because he hasn't done it yet.
He did it with Coleman last year.
Coleman in 2nd round, but will he do? I'm sorry, you're right. 1st round.
Well, he traded back. It was our 1st pick. Coleman didn't have the 1st round value or grade, so we traded back, got the 3rd rounder. So I understand why he did that.
Right.
I do believe he will, but you have to remember prior to this year, the 2 previous years we drafted pass catchers. It was Kincaid in the 1st, then it was Coleman. Now, do I agree that we've used them correctly? No. Do we need them to step up? Yes. We need them to continue to grow. But it's not that he's afraid to do it. I just want to see us go grab one of those elite receivers. Find a way to get up to grab one. When we had a chance to get up to get Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
It's one of those that I want. I want to answer Steve's question here. Says, I also think our edge room is loaded now with Landon Jackson added to learn from Bosa and Solomon to learn too. It's really loaded. Here's the thing. We have 6 edge guys that could truly make this roster.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And one of them is going to be odd man out. So we're not keeping 6. We're only going to keep 5. Now, we don't have to worry about that until week 7 because the first 6 weeks, Hoyt is
suspended.
Thank God these 2 guys are suspended, by the way.
It actually worked out.
It worked out really well for us.
Right. A bad thing actually turned out to be a good thing. What?
Now, I want to talk about Landon Jackson for a second because I don't know how much you've watched his tape. I heard a lot of comps to Crosby coming out. Dude, his tape reminds me so much of Max Crosby's. I don't know if he'll ever be Max because Max grew and kept working. But if this guy continues, his body comp, the way he plays, his tenacity, how he plays and like his moves remind me so much of Max. I want to see him go to the edge, camp that Vaughn and them put on and go work with Max. Because his game is vicious.
If he's smart,
excited to see what he turns out to be.
If he's smart, he does that. Like all these young guys, like they should all be doing stuff like that, like to better, themselves, like work on their craft. But I'm with you. So I watched the first, 3-round film. I watched Harrison, Sanders, and what's his name?
Jackson.
Jackson. And look, the thing I say about Landon Jackson is this. He's raw a little bit. He's a little bit raw at the position, a little bit new. I know he hasn't been doing it too long in that position. His bend needs to get better. That's one thing I noticed. I'm not saying it's bad.
6'7" hard to bend.
I get it, but you can. There's Groot does it well, and trust me, he'll work on it. Like for sure,
Groot
he'll work
did
on it.
Coming out, he worked on it and got better.
But he worked on it. Exactly. So he'll work on it. But dude, he, like I said earlier, he's a freak. He's a physical freak. Like the dude is a high motor, and that I love that. Right. But that, same with Sanders. Like if you go and look at his film, bro, Sanders has a high motor too. Like that dude is relentless. His first step, that's the thing that for me that pops off on Sanders, on his film. His first step off the line is so fast, bro. He gets off that line quick, fast, and powerful. He has that swipe, that swim move that he does is
to different holes too. I don't know how he does it. He's like teleports over there.
He's he's electric off the line, bro. He's quick off the snap. And Harrison, man, like I said, he's not the biggest guy, but he does have long arms, which I like, and his speed. Like I said, you can't teach that. There's some plays where he is so far off the ball, and it's like an interception. Because of the speed, like he can get on the play quick, and that's one thing I feel like the Bills' cornerback room has not had. Speed. I've always said that. Like we've just never had that. And now we do, which is great. Finally, we have a guy that has that speed that can keep up with some of these receivers that are burners. We got a burner now in the corner room. So
we do, like true, on tape burner. Like we were talking about more. Harrison on tape, you see the speed.
Oh, dude, it's a lot.
And even if he messes up, like you saw, Wallace and Jackson and Elam make the wrong step and didn't have the speed to catch up. This dude does.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I think that's what sold. That's what sold Beane on him. That you can't, like I said, you can't teach the speed. You can't teach speed, and he shows it on tape, which once again it means a lot. So, and I know we're talking about the choir boys, but he seems like a really good dude. The whole draft thing where he was dapping everybody up was really awesome. And
also, did you hear that he was at that Detroit game? Ray gave him, Ray Davis gave him tickets, so he watched the Bills firsthand too.
I heard that. You're right. I forgot about that.
He said it was the most wild game he's ever saw. He's like, they said, "What are you most excited about?" And he said, "Meeting Josh Allen."
Of course, they all do. Is it me? Like that's why I always bring up the point. Like, let's be real. Like, players don't come here to. They don't say I'm coming here to play for this awesome coach and defense. They all say, "Can't wait to play for Josh Allen. Can't wait to play for Josh."
Offense and defense. Can't wait.
It don't matter. Can't wait to be a fucking punter.
Von Miller said it forever. He's like, I was here because of Josh. That's why I came.
Yeah, right. So, these are the
that's why people go to Kansas City to play with Pat.
That's true. Great point.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Those elite, like Brady, every year always got those guys because they wanted to play with Brady.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those guys get those type of players, and then Lamar's one of them. Lamar's. People like Derrick Henry went to Baltimore because he wanted to play with Lamar.
Right. I'm with you. I'm with you, and I'm sure. Burrow would get the same treatment, but they drafted 2 unbelievable. They actually had 3 at one point.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just saying.
And they really still do because they drafted another one. Burton, if he could stay out of trouble, would be really freaking good out of Alabama. And then they have that Avalis or whatever. It starts with the I. Okay. He's really freaking good in the slots. The reason why they let Tyler Boyd go.
By the way, I don't know if you heard this before we move on to some of the chat. The guy, the corner that kept sliding from Michigan, I forget his name. What was his name? Yes. So when I finally, because I was so curious about it, right? Like, why the hell is this guy top 10? Some had him top 5, right? Like at one point. Why did he drop? And bro, yes, but Mikey, I don't know if you heard about it. It's kind of wild. Like, in all honesty, whoever drafted him, I forget who, really got to steal. They got to steal because
maybe
the thing that for me, and I'll tell you why. I don't know if you heard that, like what happened, why he dropped, but I guess all teams get like this, whatever injury medicals reports or whatever. So his freshman year, he had some surgery done to his knee, and I guess the doctor said, "Hey, when we're gonna go do this, let's do this procedure, so you're good to go in the future. You won't have any issues with this knee moving forward. But we got to do it. Like let's. It was a choice or whatever. But let's go ahead and do this now. You're good to go. You want to? You're fine." So he had it, and bro, he was healthy. He had like one small problem, but it wasn't his knee; it was something else. But he was nothing to do with his knee. But that report went to all the teams about that. He had that surgery his freshman year, and that's why he slid. It had nothing to do. Like that knee thing had nothing to do with the last 2 seasons. He was fine.
That's he also had a hip injury and a shoulder injury.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about the knee.
The problem with the knee is it's the same one that Miles Jack had. Miles Jack going into the NFL, everyone knew he was going to have a really good 4 to 5 season career. But after that, the knee was probably not going to hold up in the NFL. They said that's the exact same surgery that Will Johnson had. So at this point, and you watch Miles Jack all of a sudden hit that wall and fall off.
Yeah, he was damn good. You're right. I'm just throwing that. I'm just saying. It's one
of those.
I might have rolled it. I might have rolled the dice on him. If it, not early, but damn,
he slipped the second round. That's
what I'm saying. Why not? Right? Why not? You get what I mean? Like, I think that I'll be honest with you. Why didn't we? Like, that's not that big of a roll of a dice, bro. It really is. And you still could have probably figured a way to get Sanders if you really wanted Sanders to move up. You know what I mean? Like, that guy was falling. That guy was falling.
You just drafted Harrison. You weren't going to draft another second.
I know that. I know, but it's almost like, man, a talent like that, you're just letting slide right on through.
Well, if your doctors flagged it, and you looked at Harrison and you had a grade that was close, and they did.
Yeah.
Then you go with the guy who's is going to have multiple years.
I'm with you. I just had to bring that up.
I told you, Will Johnson and Trey Amos were my 2 that I wanted at pick 30.
Right. Yeah.
And we took Harrison. Fine.
Yeah.
I'm still going to watch Amos and Will Johnson and see how their careers play out.
Yeah.
See if I was right or wrong. But, I always wanted Amos. Amos was my number 1 guy that I wanted. But
and once again, we all could be wrong.
I'm not a scout. I know nothing about this shit other than what I watch and what I like to see.
And trust me, and I'm sure just like you, we've been wrong and right on. I've been right on some. I've been wrong on some. Like you know what I mean? Like, oh, this guy's gonna be a beast. Oh, he was terrible. Or this guy's gonna be good, and he was good. Like. It's sometimes, bro. It's a roll of the dice with some of these players. You just never know. Man. So we'll see how it all works out.
Degenerative knee conditions. That surgery that he had, that they say is degenerative. It's gonna over time. It's gonna wear down. That's just how long is he gonna be in the league?
How long will you get
5 years out of him at a second round pick? That's
a great fucking. Right, it's great.
But if you only get that one contract out of the first round, now what kind of asset are you? You know what I mean?
True. I get it.
Return on investment, so ROI.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I get it. I loved Will Johnson. I thought we would have taken him at 30 when he fell. I didn't think there was any chance. He was a top 10.
I know.
Talent.
Robert, I think Dane.
I think both of them. Dude, Jordan
You're right.
Hancock might take Cam Lewis's spot.
But they love Cam Lewis.
But here's the thing. Cam Lewis it may not even be Cam Lewis that might lose his job. It could be Hamlin. Because Cam can play all the different positions. And you know how much McDermott loves the versatility.
But I also think they just love Damari. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like that love is
one of them is going to go.
Man. Yeah.
Someone in that cornerback or that safety room is going to go.
True. You know? I'm with you. Would you say, well, okay, so before we go more to the chat, what would you say right now as we sit here today? What is our strongest position group and what's our weakest group?
Strongest group is quarterback because you have the MVP. But outside of that,
you fucking guy.
Well, you didn't tell me I had to not take that.
Son of a bitch.
I would say on offense, our offensive line is our strongest group because we have depth on the offensive line too.
Right.
And we have Cromer. Cromer's a big piece of that to make him the strongest group.
Absolutely.
On the offside, our weakest group, I'm going to say tight end.
Yeah.
I like Knox, but he's an above average tight end in this league.
Right.
Kincaid hasn't shown to be a first round pick yet. And we don't know who's going to be tight end 3.
Right.
Now, on the defensive side, our strongest group, I think, is corner now. Because we're deep, dude. Like, there's a chance that, Strong, our 6th round pick, who was supposed to be a 3rd or 4th round pick, makes this team and kicks, Ingram and Dane out of the lineup.
Excellent pickup, by the way. Excellent.
I love it.
Pick.
I love it. It's just keep doubling down on those picks. And then our weakest group, I'd say safety.
Yeah. So I agree with you on everything. I was going to say, if this guy doesn't say safety, we're going to have a real
safety. And it could be Strong. We just don't know what Forrest is.
That's true. Forrest he's intriguing. He's a question mark. Right
also going to start at safety. So I'll be interested to see what Hancock looks like at safety.
Yeah. I think the question mark really is it's going to go on.
Touche, John. Right. After saying quarterback, I didn't want Tommy to really cuss me out when I go punter.
I would say Cole Bishop's the big question mark, and can Rapp stay healthy? Right. So we have question marks. We have question marks with both. What up, G Pig? We have question marks with both starting safeties. Right. If Cole Bishop wins that spot. We have the Cole Bishop. Can Cole Bishop, take a step forward in year 2, right? And can Taylor Rapp stay on the fucking field? Right? That's really I like Taylor Rapp. I feel like Taylor Rapp has made some big plays in Buffalo since he's arrived. He's had some big interceptions, some big hits. I love that he goes all. Just don't hit our players, please. But I like that. I like his style. I like this physicality. I don't think he's the greatest safety out there, but he's not the worst either. I think he's
an above average starting safety.
He's an above average, exactly. So we'll see. I want to see if Cole and him can develop chemistry back there, like obviously like Poyer and Hyde, right? Can they get that down, right? Because they haven't worked together. They're not really. They haven't been on the field too much together.
I don't mean to cut you off, but here's the thing. I don't want to see these two together because I don't think Rapp is a free safety. And I don't think Bishop's a free safety. I want to see Forrest and Bishop together. I want Rapp to be, a backup, honestly, and a special teams guy.
Interesting.
Remember the floor and ceiling we're talking about. Here's the thing. Rapp can't stay healthy anyways. He is yet to be able to make it to our playoff games because he plays so physical, he hurts himself and others. So I want to see Bishop grow. Then I want to see that's why I wanted a young safety, whether it's Hancock or I wanted us to trade up to get Watts in the 3rd round because I wanted us to pair Bishop with a young free safety who can be a center fielder to pair those two guys together on the back end. So I would like to see Bishop take the strong safety because I think that's where he would play best.
Okay.
And match him with Forrest or Hancock as a free safety and see how those two play out. But you're probably right. It's probably going to be Rapp and Bishop.
I got to be honest with you. When it comes to Bishop, I need to see more. I'm not totally sold on him being a starter just yet. I have to and it's not his fault necessarily. He got hurt during camp and he didn't really get the opportunity to train and play preseason. You know what I mean? Like he kind of missed out, and by the time he got healthy, that's what I'm saying. So by the time, and by then, bro, you're doing nothing but practicing. You ain't training. This ain't camp no more. So you ain't getting the one-on-ones, right? So I hope my thing with him is just stay healthy, go to camp, learn, right? Better yourself, get better at your craft, sharpen your tools in the shed, and go out there and show me in preseason that you're ready to take that job. Because that's what I'm telling you. It's going to come down to preseason. It's going to come down to camp, preseason, on who wins that position.
G. Pickens says everyone outside of Buffalo thinks your tight end room is fine. I think it's fine too. The question was, what's the strongest on our offense and what's the weakest on our offense?
Exactly.
Ben thinks wide receiver is the weakest. I disagree.
Wow. Yeah, I disagree.
I think tight end is a weaker position than that. Wow. Because what have you seen from Kincaid and Knox that makes you feel better than Shakir? Shakir's better than both those guys.
Man,
okay.
Man, spin.
That's fine. It's fine. You can have your feelings about how you feel.
Listen, I don't see it that way at all. I don't. I'm excited.
I did 2 weeks ago.
Yes, before we got, and I still didn't think it was the weakest 2 weeks ago. I still felt like
we were missing that piece.
The over the top, the speed. I agree with you, but I still don't think it was. If we didn't get him, I still don't think it was to be our this terrible wide receiver room, because I was thinking of the other stuff I mentioned earlier when we talk about guys coming back healthy. The Curtis Samuel, right? The guy we signed, Palmer, right? The guys we didn't have. Let's be real. Mac Hollins, cool. I like him. Good player, fun. Come on, you were going to compare him to Palmer. Two different players, right? Palmer is he's shown to be a much better receiver than Mac Hollins. Right? That's an upgrade. Let's be real. It's an upgrade. I know we lost Cooper, but let's be real. Cooper, he's aging, and he didn't have the greatest games for us. He had a couple good games, a couple decent catches, but down the stretch, he was kind of high. Nope, he was missing. So are we really losing a lot with Cooper? I didn't see much down the stretch, right?
I wasn't a big fan of our receiver room last year, Tommy. So I understand where you're going.
No, I get it. But Khalil Shakir getting better, right? You have to, he's more likely to take another step forward, right? Or wrong with Shakir?
No, I agree.
Okay. You like the addition of Palmer, right? Yep. What did we miss last year? Route running and separation, right? Separation, big time. Keon Coleman, we hope at least year 2, he should take a step forward. He should, right? So that's a promising look in the wide receiver room. And then you got Curtis Samuel, who, once again, we've seen Curtis Samuel play football with other teams. He has shown the ability to be
last year, down
the stretch. So there was nothing for me to go, you know what? Man, it's going to be bad. It's going to, I don't know, who's Josh going to throw to? I felt like it would be fine, but I was with you. We still needed that one more guy, that over the top, that speedster, and we got it. So I like it. I like the receiver room. I think it's young. I think we have every receiver has there's something they bring to the table, and that they could do good on the field. And I like it. I see nothing wrong with the receiver room. We don't have superstar receiver. I get it. But man, kind of like piggybacking off what Brandon Beane said, we scored 30 points. Yeah. We averaged 30 last year.
We're nitpicking the offense. That was one of the best offenses. The question was, what's the best, what's the weakest? And to Spen's question here, it says, if Coleman or Murray gets hurt, what does that room look like? You could say the same thing. What if Kincaid gets hurt again? Or Knox gets hurt? Now we have Haas, who's a blocking tight end, and Davidson, who's never played. So, you could play that. If that gets hurt, what does it look like? Again, I'm nitpicking the offense. The offense is really good.
And the tight end room, so what Mikey was saying and why I agree with Mikey. And we're not even saying it's bad. It was the question was strongest and weakest. Tight end, let's be real. Kincaid took a step back last year. However you want to see it.
Yeah, due to injury, but you're right. He took a step back.
Right. But here's the deal. I like Kincaid, and I think Kincaid can bounce back from last season and have a more productive year for us this year. I like Dawson Knox, but he is who he is. We know who Dawson Knox is by now. There's Dawson, like, he's reached the ceiling, guys. Like, but he's not a bad tight end. But he's also not, a great tight end, right? And Dalton Kincaid, like I said, took a step back. So that is our weakest. It is, until Dalton Kincaid could show or take that step forward that we were hoping for last year, then right now that tight end group is the weakest. It just is. And not to mention the drops. Go ahead, Mikey.
I also feel part of that falls on Joe Brady, who I don't think uses Kincaid
the right way
in his best way. Like in college, he ran a lot of seams and crossers, and when we do that, he does really good. But we run him a lot on like stops and outs, and use him more as like a check down rather than stretching the field with him. T. Dobson says, would we feel different about Kincaid if he had caught that sliding pass?
No, I would have loved him. Right. But that doesn't take away his production.
I think I'd feel different about Kincaid from the fact of I'm concerned about clutch.
Exactly.
Because
and injuries. Let's be real.
I'm just saying he dropped that pass.
Absolutely, he did. Yeah, and he dropped multiple. He dropped multiple last year.
You want to know the difference between why the Bills win or why the Bills lose and the Chiefs win? Their playmakers
make plays
are clutch and make the play when they have to happen.
Yeah.
Chris Jones getting through Deion Dawkins and hitting Josh Allen as he was making that throw when they beat us in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Diggs dropping the ball on the bomb down the field. Kincaid dropping this one. There's a lot of little things that they do right that we don't do. And that's my concern with Kincaid. I need to see the clutch. Not even just Kincaid, the Bills offense and defense.
In general.
I need them to come up clutch in real time. They do it in the regular season all the time. I need to see it in the big time moments. When the lights are the brightest.
When the pressure's on. Right. Lights are the brightest. It's win or go home.
Yeah.
It's time. Like Mikey said, we need these players, these guys that we're paying or drafting to finally step up. And and I would say the offense for the most part has. Now I'm not saying like Kincaid dropping, but let's be real. The defense is really, and that's why we're at where we're at. They have been the ones that have been I think they've dropped the ball way more than anything. So but I'm with you, Mikey. Like players like that, Kincaid, listen, we drafted you in the first round. We not only drafted you, we traded up a couple spots to get you. You had great hands in college. You were one of the best coming out of college, and catching the ball. And then, man, last year dropping the ball, like just unacceptable. Like stuff like that can't. I get Dawson Knox. He's had that since he's been here. Right? The dropsies, right? Like we're used to it by now. Like that ain't changing, right? But Dalton Kincaid, we expected more, and maybe he'll get better in that. Maybe, like I said, maybe that was just something last year he has to deal with. I know he had some injuries. Remember, nagging injuries. He got hurt on a Allen overthrow, whatever that. Remember that? Twisted his knee up or something. Like,
I mean,
hopefully this year,
the rest of the year, that put him pretty much limited the rest of the year. I want to hit Roy's comment here. It says it's looking like another season where no pass catcher gets 1,000 yards. Why are you upset with that? We had Stephon Diggs for 4 straight years where he caught 1,000 yards, had 130 targets, 150 targets, 110 to 120 catches a year. That didn't get us where we needed to go. Josh Allen also led the league in interceptions and turnovers during that time because he was forcing stuff to him and Gabe Davis.
Right.
Last year, Josh Allen had, 7 interceptions?
Right.
All year? Had 8 turnovers? And we're upset because a receiver didn't get 1,000 yards. I'll take last year's offense 100 times out of 100 times over having to force feed a alpha receiver 100 plus times. To where Josh is like, okay, I'm going to give him a shot, and he throws a pick because he wants to get it to his alpha guy.
And let's be real too, right? Go and look around the league, right, with the elite receivers. I mean, we got further. like Bengals didn't even make the playoffs. I'm just throwing that out. They got awesome receivers, right? Mm-hmm. Buffalo Bills back in the day. The matter of fact, the last time we ever had 2 receivers with 1,000 yards in a season was 2002, and we won 8 games. So, like, for me, it's this: whatever works, go for it. If this is what works, if the everybody eats thing works, and the Bills' offense is clicking, I could give a shit if nobody has 1,000 yards. That don't bother me. And if it doesn't bother the player that's on the team, right? If Shakir's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, let's just win, baby. If that's all it's about, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just win. Let's stack the wins, get back in the playoffs, and get back in the dance. And let's try to win this championship
and actually step over
right
for once.
Because look, let's be real, Mikey. Ain't nobody last year when we got in the playoffs, got to the AFC Championship game, ain't nobody was going, man, our receivers are terrible. Like nobody was mentioning. You know what they were saying? This offense is clicking. 30 points a game.
That's not true.
No, we were clicking.
We were calling out the receiver, the lack. Because here's the thing:
early
games,
not later.
No, even late. Because there were games where our running backs were our leading receivers.
True, but it didn't matter. But Mikey, at the end of the day, though, we did still score a ton of points.
I'm not saying we didn't. I'm saying, but you said that nobody was saying about our receivers. We were like the fact that Mac Hollins had to be our number 2 down the stretch was concerning.
True, but let me ask you: was the receiver room the reason why we lost the AFC Championship game?
No, our defense was.
Okay, so but my point is,
I'm just saying what you said was no one was saying it, but yes,
I get it. You're right, and I was saying it earlier that the Bills should trade, and we did. We got Cooper, and it helped, right? And that's why I guess when we talked about the Brandon Beane saying, "Hey, you guys are bitching about receiver," I get it, blah blah, and we were fine last year, but not really because they went out and traded Cooper. Right? It wasn't fine, but it wasn't terrible. It just was. It wasn't. We still needed something, right? We needed some help there. But maybe you're right. Maybe people were, but it's not what I guess where I'm going with this, Mikey. It's not what held this team. Like nobody was saying this offense is in a funk because the receiving room is not up to par.
I'm with you on that. Okay, I'm with you on that. Yeah. I get it, Roy. I just want to call out your thing. Yeah.
Roy's the man, by the way. Roy, by the way, this Roy Collins fella, he is a Buffalo Bills podcast junkie. This guy's everywhere.
Scott, Spin.
Blakely, Spin.
Yeah.
You guys are hooked on Buffalo Bills.
I've seen T-Dobs in a ton of different locations.
You damn junkies.
Done out there. I
guys are hooked.
And there's a bunch of people that aren't here tonight that are that way too. Right. Listen, the Mafia goes hard. Mafia goes hard, man.
They could not get enough. I love it. I do, man. I really do.
This is a hot take. This year's receiver room will be the best we've ever had. That 13-second wide receiver room with Sanders, Diggs, Peak Beasley, and Davis is going to be tough to beat. That was an elite wide receiver room. We haven't had a receiver room like that. It's gone downhill since that day. Because the next year we were without Beasley, we were without Sanders, and like all the guys just fell off.
That
and it was just Diggs and Davis.
That hurt. Yeah, and with a new coordinator too.
That's a hot take. I hope you're right. I hope I come back at the end of the year and say, okay, I was wrong. Scott, you were right. This receiver room
you know what, Scott, I'm going to double down on that. I agree. I think it's the best. I'm going to double down, Scott. Scott Blakely, you're the man. I'm going to double down. I'm going to say that I think, I think Scott ain't lying there. I think this wide receiver room is going to surprise a lot of people. I think it's going to absolutely shut those dudes up in WGR with the addition of Moore. I love it. And like I said earlier, I count our running backs as our receivers. Mm-hmm. I do, because they're a big part of the receiving game. So I feel like we have so many weapons. This is going to be a fun offense to watch. I'm telling you, it's going to be fun.
Spin to get Mikey going. That takes more skill. I liked what he said, but you know, at the end of the day, it's an opinionated take.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Which gives me something to talk about. And that's why you guys are the best, because you always give us something to talk about. You know?
Yes.
And G-Pick, you're right. I remember that. There was an entire season where a Chiefs wide receiver didn't catch a TD, and they still won.
Right. I mean, look at that. I mean, you know, I hate to say the Patriots again, but the Patriots really never truly had these great receivers. They had Gronk,
except the year they had Randy Moss.
I know, but guess what? They didn't win Super Bowl that year.
They lost the Super Bowl that year.
Right. So just throwing that out there.
They lost it to Tyreek somehow.
Yeah. Undefeated, by the way. What a great season that nobody talks about, if you think about it.
Dunn, you are 100% right. Our ability to take the ball away last year also helped our offense.
That was huge. You know what? That's a great point. Putting us in great field position.
Mm-hmm.
But it also kind of covered up how bad the defense was. Because if it wasn't for the turnovers that we had, our defense was not very good last year. Like, that was the only thing that kind of helped the defense.
We didn't stop Baltimore one time that game. They just shot themselves in the foot.
Mikey, we didn't stop any team in the playoffs on their first possession.
We didn't stop any team much during the year.
Denver came out in that opening. Sorry ass. I mean, listen, not sorry ass Denver.
Yes.
I like Denver, but come on. In Buffalo, rookie quarterback. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought for sure we were going to, no problem. And we kicked their ass, but that opening drive was, come on, that's disgusting. Like, that should not happen. And we'd let it happen every game moving forward. Mm-hmm. And it's unacceptable. You cannot have that. And like I said, I felt like I liked the turnovers last year, but it kind of was like a little smoke screen on how really bad the defense was playing. It really was not that good last year. And I think that's why they went defensive fucking heavy in the draft this year, because I
love it. And we got a new young core, and that's what we needed. We need to flip that switch. T-Dobbs comes in and says, I don't think Coop ever fully recovered after the injury. He played hurt all year. He had to have surgery. Yeah. He said he had to have surgery after the season, so it doesn't surprise me. You know,
just our luck, by the way.
True, he was a trooper. I don't like. Coleman never came back after that. After he got hit either.
He didn't
down the stretch. Nope. We didn't see Coleman at all, really. After he came back, he just wasn't the same. He just never got healthy. And G-Pick, I hope you do come up to Buffalo for that. You'll have a great time. Bills Mafia is wild, but you'll enjoy yourself.
Absolutely, you will. Absolutely. You know, that's one thing I'll say too about
Jason. Yeah, Jason's in most of them too.
Jason's the man too. We talk on X.
Spaghetti
but I will say this:
I see him in a bunch
about Bills Mafia, like fan base that is, like tailgating. Like, you know, if you come to a game and you're an outside fan, whatever, Bengals fan, whatever you are, Chiefs fan, you ain't gonna we're not an aggressive fan base. Like, that's one thing I noticed. Like, we're not trying to jump people and beat people up. So we're very welcoming. So when you go there, the tailgates pretty much it's good. Like, that's one thing. Like, Miami sucks, dude. Miami people are beating people up and shit. Like, it's just not fun. Like, so you're gonna have a blast. If you ever go to a Bills Mafia tailgate, it's they welcome everybody. You know.
Yeah. John Sanders. Yeah, our offense was only 10th in total yards. Defense turnovers gave us short fields. You have to also remember, Josh shut out like 3 games worth of quarters last year.
Yeah.
Because early on we were blowing people out, so Josh just kept sitting down.
You're right. He did.
And then he missed the entire last game. He missed like almost 3 games worth of
playtime.
Last year. It was wild when you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, when your quarterback misses that much time, you think you'd have the 1 seed, but no, the stupid ass Chiefs kept just finding a way to win.
Bro,
these needling, man.
It's bro. When you know it's crazy. I didn't even really think about it until you said that. Last year was fucking nuts with them. All those games that they could have potentially had 4, 5, like a block, like a field goal. It should have easily been made. Or them
the snap.
Their guy kicking the field goal.
Yeah,
bounces off.
The Raiders.
Anybody else
were in field goal range, and he dropped the snap and fumbled it. Like, what are you doing?
Right. It's just like, bro. And you know what? It doesn't happen to us, right?
John,
it never goes our way.
The wrist impact doesn't impact your speed; it impacts your get off. Because you have to remember, you use your hands to get off of coverage.
Oh, absolutely.
So his release package, which affects not so much speed but separation.
And then not only that, like you feeling comfortable catching the ball. Like it's in your head. I'm just saying, but the wrist.
He'll deal with it on the catch. It's that get off. It's the release package where they hand fight getting off the line.
Yeah, but even in the catch, Mikey, it's still you're kind of doing things a little bit different because of the injury, right? You're catching the ball a little bit different. You know it. You know, it's just the way it is, man. Like, so it's man. We just have bad luck sometimes, man.
I'm cool until they don't stop talking crap. Bills need to get that snake cup going like they do in the UFL. UFL is a wild setup down there.
Have you watched any of this season? I haven't watched anything this season. UFL.
I've watched highlights.
Have you? Anything good? You think they're doing things
good
over there?
You know who keeps popping out is Deion Kane. Preseason favorite Deion Kane. Remember him?
Yes,
last year?
Yes.
Guy who's out there. Sick. He was big and fast, and he's tearing it up in the UFL right now.
Okay.
We got a super chat, Tommy.
Oh, you know what that means? Let me go ahead and dial it up for you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it, John. Says good point about the get off year of the wrist. It was the year of the wrist, man. All of them.
Didn't we have somebody else too with the wrist injury? Wasn't it Kincaid? Somebody else had one.
It was Coleman, Cooper, Allen. After we won, he played with a broken hand wrist. Then on the defensive side, we had one of the DNs or two of the DNs broke their wrist. It was wild. It was wild across the board. It was the year of the wrist. The year before that was the year of the knees and the torn pecs.
Gotta stay healthy, man. Gotta stay healthy.
1 year next year's the shoulders, then it's the wrist, and then there
turf
was the
toe.
knees.
We had two turf toe guys last year. Yeah. Claypool, who didn't make the team because of turf toe.
Carter also hurt his wrist. It was Carter, and then who was who was the one that came over? God, what was his name? He came from Jacksonville. I can't remember his name now. Smoot.
Oh, Smoot. Yeah, he got hurt.
He was really starting to come on, and then he hurt his wrist, and he wasn't the same after.
Yeah.
Haas is going to be tight end 3. I agree with that. My concern is Haas caught like 7 balls in 5 years of college. It's really like 18, but if Knox or Kincaid go down, I'm not super confident that he's going to be, having any catches.
I liked the guy we had that you liked from last year. What happened to him? I don't remember. I don't know why I don't recall.
He's still out there.
Yes.
He's fighting tight end 3.
He has potential.
He'll be a practice squad guy for us.
Yeah.
That will come up if someone gets hurt.
Okay. I think he has potential, man. I think they should give him more opportunity in camp in the preseason. I mean, he shined at times. So I don't know.
Allen played through 20 concussions that they said were alleged headaches. Yeah, I don't think Allen played through 20 concussions. I think he played through one really bad. One that.
Oh, dude. He was knocked out for a second. What game was that?
I don't know why they let him continue playing that game, but
what game was that?
Was it the Texans game or was it the Baltimore game? It was one of that was one of those two games.
It might have been the Texans, right? I don't remember. Guys in the chat, if you remember, but yeah, dude,
his head bounced. Say what you want. That dude was not right.
No, dude. Oh my god. Texans.
But this was the least amount of punishment Josh took in a year. I mean, he broke his wrist or his hand early, but for the most part, he was actually pretty healthy throughout the year. It was wild.
Right.
Tommy, he wasn't knocked out. Come on. This is the NFL.
Yeah, they ain't say. And by the way, like
15-second power nap.
Superstar. Yeah, they're not. You know why, too, though? He didn't do the whole. It was quick. It was like a flash knockdown. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
black.
No, he did.
He still get checked out and he was fine.
It was like a flash. It was like a flash knockout. It was real quick. He snapped out of it. But it wasn't like a Tua. It wasn't like a Tua thing where he's fencing.
Yeah. Or no, the fencing, like even stumbling or looking like he's lost.
Stumbling, fencing, right.
Yeah, Josh didn't look like he was lost at all.
No, you're right. No, he seemed fine, but he definitely was knocked out.
Potential means he hasn't done shit yet. Bill Parcells. I love that one, John. Potential means you ain't done nothing. You know, Josh is the toughest quarterback in the league, bar none. There's some tough quarterbacks, dude. There's some tough quarterbacks.
You know what I forgot to talk to you about? And it's been a fun show, by the way, real quick. It's been fucking great. Once again, another show we came with nothing. But
just wanted to talk about the draft. That was it. The only thing that was there was
Brandon Beane thing.
About the draft.
Yeah, well, the Brandon Beane thing, I for sure had that on my scope. But outside of that, we just come and talk to you guys, like just whatever. But I wanted to talk to you real quick because I don't know why I just thought about it. Jeff Ubrick's son. I'm sure you heard by now, right? So 21-year-old. I mean, old enough one to know better. You're not like a high school kid, right? Like what are you doing, bro? Question to you is: they find the Falcons $250,000. They find Ubrick $100,000. Do the Falcons? I wonder if they go, yo, Ubrick, we ain't paying this shit. This is not like I wonder if they could do that. I don't know if they can because it's probably illegal.
They'll probably pay him. They'll probably pay it.
Mm-hmm.
But I guarantee you that kid is not going to be allowed around that facility.
No, ever. But as a parent, right? I'm just because you're a dad. I'm a dad too. But
if he was in his early teens and he did that, you know what? You eat that as a parent. This kid's an adult. What the hell are you doing?
But
he's paying me back that $100,000. I don't know what kind of job he's going to have, but you're getting a job and you're paying me back that $100,000. I'm not the one that did that. And you stole from me? My kid stole from me.
Right. Stole went in your office. You know better, right? But bro, that's just so crazy to me. 21-year-old acting a fool, cost his dad, really cost $350 in total. Over a quarter.
Cost the organization $350 as a whole.
Holy shit. Right? I mean, that's insane. I really wonder what's he gonna do to the kid though? He's 21. Like, what can he do? I would assume he's paying for his college, or if that guy, I have no idea about this kid, but I mean, he has to do a lot of washing cars or something.
He's doing something.
You'll never be able to pay back $100K, Mikey. Let's be real. It's never.
First, I'm extremely disappointed in my kid for doing that.
Dude,
I'm really disappointed in my kid for doing that. Second, I will give Sanders and those other ones who took the prank calls, especially Sanders, because his was shown.
Yeah,
dude, they handled that really well.
Yeah.
Dion came out and talked about it afterwards, and he showed way more class than he had to.
Good for him. See, I didn't hear the aftermath of Dion talking about it, but yeah, look, man.
Albert called them and apologized.
Yeah, you just don't do it. Yeah, listen, I prank call when I was young, right? I still prank call.
I was super young. I was 8, 9, 10 when I did that stuff. But it was
great. That's what I'm saying. As at middle school, right? And it was funny as shit, right? Businesses, and I'm sure it's a shitty thing. These people are trying to work, fucking around with them, but you're young. But man, 21, what are you doing?
I didn't hear about the Isaiah Bond one. They did it to a Bond, and they said roll tide.
They did it to our tight end.
They did it to Genty. They said he was traded to the Cowboys. Someone was just doing it to a bunch. There's 10 or 12 people this year that we know about. That's been reported.
Wild, man.
They're gonna end up changing how that happens going forward.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think it'll be. It'll probably be one. I'm assuming one. The numbers will go only to the general managers, and they probably cannot hand it over to anyone else. I'm assuming that's what's probably because you know what I mean. Ubrick. Why did Ubrick even?
Why haven't they done FaceTimes at all of them?
I don't know. You're right. Right. Why don't they? Right. Why do you need the fucking number? Right. I mean, I guess you
need the number to do the FaceTime, but do a FaceTime with the guys.
That's true too.
Then you're showing your face, and you know it's coming from the.
You know who it is. Yeah, you know who it is. Yeah. Right. That's a great point.
Did you see the Violent Car Chase in California today? No, I didn't see the car chase in California today, T-Dubs.
I'm sure it was good. Like, out of all the 50 they have every year over California.
Yeah. Lunt got pranked as well. Our tackle.
Oh, it was a tackle, not our tight end.
Yeah.
Yes, he got prank called too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, John. Why don't they just FaceTime him? It's going to change next year. It's going to.
Oh, they're definitely going to.
They ran into a dump truck. Ouch!
Yikes!
Game over. OT. Yeah, it's wild. That was a whole wild scene. The whole Shador thing was wild.
It was.
To say that he isn't talented enough to be drafted in 10
ahead of the one QB guy too.
QB 6 or 7. That's no.
No, I agree. Especially who's the guy the Browns drafted. I don't even like that guy. The guy before him, a little pudgy. Yeah. Like, dude, like. But
what are we doing?
I did say though the Browns are going to draft him. I just didn't know they were going to draft him in the what was it, 5th round?
And I don't know if you saw it, but the GM and the coach looked pissed when they drafted him.
I just, you know what? I almost feel like they were just like, eh.
I think that was an owner's call. I'm not even sure
that
they wanted it.
It's good. I'll tell you what, they got a lot of quarterbacks in that room. It's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, it'll be wild, you know?
Yeah.
Browns quarter room is like our safety room. It seems like who's going to take it, you know? That's great.
Take it.
It's like,
man. All right.
What do you think about our late round draft picks? We talked a lot about our top 4, but then we went and got Walker, which we talked a little bit about. But then what do you think about Hancock and Haas and Prather and those and Strong? Did you like those? Those are all going to probably be special teams picks that could grow into something.
Yeah. Okay. So I like Strong. I thought that was a really good pickup, especially in the 6th round.
Pick. The more I watch his tape, because he played everywhere. He played outside. He played inside. He played safety. They just where they needed him is where he played. And
a good school where they played really good talent. So it wasn't like he was going against bums. I like Hancock. I like Strong. Hawes, whatever. I honestly, it's not that. Lunt, I don't know much about. I know you were high on him. And Prather, from what I heard, who knows? Like he had decent film. I mean, there wasn't a lot on him, Mikey, but he looks okay. But once again, all these players, films look good. So he will be a practice squad guy.
Now,
I can't see him.
To touch on Haas real quick, I think what's going to end up happening, I think he's going to be tight end 2 on plays, and you might see Kincaid split out more because now we have a true blocking tight end. So when we run those jumbo packages, we don't have to bring in, or if we decide to bring in Alec Anderson, we can still bring in Haas too. So you have Knox and Haas as your 2 tight ends there, and you can use Kincaid with what our original plan was to put them all over the field and use them as a mismatch.
So you kind of envision it as a Lee Smith type tight end.
Yes, that's exactly what he is.
By the way, that's what we use Lee Smith for. and he was great with that.
I would love to see us, use Haas and on the tush pushes and line him up behind Josh Allen.
Absolutely. Please don't ever use Curtis Samuel or a light receiver to push Josh Allen.
Shakir or Cook.
Right.
Let's get some behind it.
Cook was terrible at him. Like Cook he ain't pushing anybody. Like, right, get a big body back there to push him.
So Sarah, it's one of those things. He's just not as tall as Lee Smith was because Lee Smith was basically offensive tackle. He was about 20 pounds shy of being a legit offensive tackle.
Right. I mean, think about it. Our old offensive line, the what's his name? The guy we converted into offensive line. Can't believe I'm drawing a blank here. Jason Peters, who converted from tight end to offensive line. But I'm just saying, like, same kind of size. I mean, a little bit heavier. He gained the weight to be an offensive lineman, but I think he was almost that size. Peters a big dude coming out of college.
Yeah, and what I like about Haas is he's truly just the ass kicker. Like he's a Yale grad. Like so he's super smart.
Yeah,
he's not gonna have a problem picking up an offense and understanding what his responsibilities are.
And so I'm sure he'll be fine with it.
Prather's a flyer that'll probably end up on the practice squad. I think so too. But I think the rest of these guys have a legit shot at making the roster.
I do too. I don't see it.
8 picks have a shot at making the roster. That's wild.
I don't know Lunt too much to speak on him. I know you like him. The only knock I heard is he has short arms, which is not really good. But I heard he's strong, like really physically strong. So,
and he can move. So we don't use him as a typical, set, and we use him like on the move, like we do a lot of because you always see us pulling Dion and stuff. Lunt's that type of guy. He's crazy.
Okay.
And I trust that Cromer will get something out of the guy. So Lunt may not. You're right. Yeah. So it might only be 7 of the 9 that have a legit shot at making it. Because Lunt may be a practice squad guy year 1.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
by the way, I'm with you on Cromer too. Cromer can I believe in Cromer so much that he can pretty much if you can't get better with Cromer, then you're just not gonna get better.
Yeah. He said that he loves the dirty work. Yeah, he does. He like I love the guys we brought in too. Like they're how they fit the team's mold too. Like you didn't find any guys that were just like outside the box of what we normally get.
No, I think all these guys. Yeah, dude, all these. I feel like like I said, when we were live for these draft picks, all 3 long day nights. I said it the day after, like each day when we passed through the draft. I didn't fall in love with the draft or these players, but I liked the players. You know what I mean? Like I didn't hate the picks. I just didn't understand, why they picked, why they traded up for Sanders when they could have, and if they did, like that was my only.
A little bit because then the run started on defensive tackles again right after that pick.
Exactly.
But I get it. Like I wasn't a fan of it because I felt like we're trading up for a backup D tackle because really that's what he is.
Exactly.
In round 2, but he could be the future when his contract's up. Ed's going to be 4 years older, so he might just get the contract and take Ed's spot. You have to plan for the future. After
always.
Day 1, when I was really mad that we didn't take Amos and we took, Harrison, I decided I came back day 2 and I told you I'm just going to root for these guys. I need to stop falling in love with players and understand that if we get the position, that's what's most important.
Exactly. And if you notice too, man, I think every draft, no matter like we all like once camp, especially when camp hits, I would say when camp hits and we start hearing names, reporters out there going, man, this guy's shining. And then there's clips, right? And then we start getting the videos in, right, of players shining, right?
Like how you're doing.
Exactly. Like that's when we start to fall in love with certain players, I think. Like that we didn't maybe like coming out of the draft or really know too much about, but then we're like rooting for him, right?
Benford was that way. We didn't know anything about him, and then you heard he was just locking people down left and right.
Yeah, and I remember me and Mikey were like not happy, right? At first, like Kyer didn't get this because like, hey, what's going on? Why? What
we were talking about moving Benford to safety.
right. But I'm saying the year 1 of Kyer and Benford, right? The start of the season, we were like, what the fuck? I remember we were like, what? Like we were kind of upset about like it didn't make sense.
I was upset the first 2 years. right. Like if you're going to invest in a first round guy, let the guy go out there and play. That's why I'm a little concerned because we brought back Trey, and we know how much McDermott loves guys who know his defense.
Yeah, but it seems like that youth movement's coming in. I don't know if they're going to.
So I'm hoping they give Harrison a true shot at CB2 this year because I think if they put him out there, I think he wins it. If they give him a legit shot, I think he wins it.
I think you have to have him out there, Mikey, at CB2.
We said the same thing about Elam, and he wasn't.
True, but we also I don't know if Trey, unless Trey has had an unbelievable right. Some match he ate some hella Lucky Charms, and he bounces back and has the old Trey. Then fine, you know what? I even accept that. but that's not going to happen.
No,
I think Harrison gets that.
I think he at least gets a crack at it. I think.
Yeah.
Spaghetti wants to know, what do we grade the total off season so far?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And this is after the Elijah Moore thing.
Yeah, to date.
Yeah, to date.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go B+.
And I'm gonna go A. Why do you only give it a B+? What are you knocking?
I'm on board.
What don't we have? Is it the safety?
So, yeah, I feel like the safety's still a question mark there. But offseason, we're talking about offseason moves and draft and all that. So the draft, I had like C+, B-, right? Like, so I think so I teetered. Yeah. So, but that was during the draft. So right now, I would say B- is where I stand with the draft. Of course, that could change. This is right now. And I feel like the offseason moves. I like that. Listen, I like the players that we got, but we didn't have the amount of money. We kind of had to get what we can get. The Elijah Moore though pick or free agent signing from this week bounced that up for me because I know you're sold on the Bosa thing, and I don't hate it because I said before he brings that. He not only does he bring what he does on the field, but you could pick his brain and the young guys can learn a lot from Bosa, and that's great. I like that. But what I don't like is he's missed a lot of games. He hasn't been stacking up what he used to stack up as far as sacks go. I get where you're going with, hey, in the playoffs, dude was electric. And if they use him right, and I hope they do, with limited snap count and get the young guys in there, not have them work, give them a big workload, which I feel they will. They won't because that's the way McDermott does his defense anyways, then maybe we did that. That will be a good signing. But right now, I'm not totally sold on the Bosa thing because of the injuries that he's had over the last 2-3 seasons. But outside that, I'm cool with everything else. And I'm factoring in the extensions. I'm factoring.
Tommy.
Yeah.
It's A.
It's not an A.
It's an A. We have revamped we've turned over the roster and we went with the youth movement.
Okay. I like it.
We've got every aspect in the wide receiver room that you asked for. Our offensive line is coming back fully together, which is the best offense we'd seen last year ever in Buffalo. And we went full rebuild on the defense. We had 3 defensive linemen, 3 corners, like across the board. And then we locked up all of our young studs. The only one that's not locked up yet is Cook. How do you not give that an A?
We're not giving it a B+. Come on, jeez, that's a good grade.
Because you're not a big fan of
ragging on me.
Your Bosa signing,
ragging on me with my B+. That's a fucking great grade. Do you know I got D's in high school? You know what I would give to give a B+?
You're just tough grade.
No, I just wish I could get a B+ in general. So if somebody gave me a B+, I'd be happy with that.
Go in Tommy's corner. Go sit in the corner with Tommy. Boy, it changes my whole outlook on the offense.
Absolutely, it did.
It really
bounced it up.
You guys are PED.
Oh, that too. Great fuck. So what me and Mikey said earlier, it actually worked out now, right? But at first I was like, yo, that's real fucking dumb, right? And I'll be honest with you, the other guy, I'm not sold on either. I don't really care for him. Yeah, I'm not like, can he be the guy from 4 years ago? I forget the team he played for, went to Super Bowl, right? Didn't he play at Super Bowl 1 year?
No.
If he could be that.
He played with Cleveland, and he was really good with them.
Yeah, if he could be that, I'm cool,
I just need him to be the veteran in the room. Like, honestly, with us going and getting Sanders, basically Sanders is Ogunjobi, took Ogunjobi's job. And with us getting Walker, I think they're going to play the young guy over the older guy. So it's going to be like, if we have injuries, that's where I see Ogunjobi stepping in. Like, listen, the only reason why we ended up signing Ogunjobi after we found out he was is because there was nobody else out there and we had to fill, he had to fill those spots. And Brain basically said it.
He did terrible. Pittsburgh fans hated him.
Yeah, because he doesn't play in a 3-4, and that's what Pittsburgh.
No, I'm just saying he was terrible there.
Yeah. Because
by the way, that doesn't mean he won't be
true 3-tech.
I get it, and maybe once again, my opinion can change very easily. Right? Trust me, I do it all the time. I'm very. I remember. You know what's funny? I remember having a conversation with you last offseason about how I was like about Mac fucking Hollins, and I'm like, it's fucking Mac Hollins, bro. Stop. This guy's a fucking journeyman. What's he gonna do? And boy, I was wrong. Not that he was unbelievable, but he grew on me, and I'm like, this guy's okay. Dude brings it. Great teammate. Does everything you ask. Like, I love those type of players. That's why I hate when people shit on Devin Singletary. Stop it.
Well, you like Devin Singletary because he's from Florida. Let's call him a spade a spade.
No, I like him but I also like him because he worked hard. Let's be real. He was a good teammate. Josh Allen loved him. Ain't nobody knocking him for what he did in Buffalo. But Tommy, yes,
this is great, man. Tell me, how can you be upset with signing Bosa and be upset with not getting Will Johnson?
Because Will Johnson is way younger. One,
but he also was coming off.
He's also
injuries.
He's also a draft pick. He's a draft pick that wouldn't cost you much of anything. Just being honest, third fucking round. Let's be real. We're talking third round draft pick money.
Second or first. It would have been first if we would have drafted him. No, he went.
No, I didn't say draft him in the first. I said when he's fallen.
Will went in the second round to the Cardinals.
No, he didn't. I thought he went in the third. Did he? Second round? Okay. Late.
To the Cardinals.
All right.
Mid-second round.
Mid-second round. All right. So then I was wrong. All right. Whatever. Either way, second round draft pick money is still not worth as expensive as Joey Bosa's contract. I promise you. And
Will Johnson has never proved anything like Joey Bosa has.
Okay, but Joey Bosa's on a 1-year deal. He also has had 2 very subpar seasons with injuries. He hasn't had a double-digit sack year in a while. So, once again, I'm just saying I'm not crazy about the signing, but I also don't hate it. I'm not saying, oh, God, it's the worst signing ever. I think he brings something to the table. But
you're crapping on him.
I'm not crapping on him, but go look at his stats. I mean, guys, come on. Y'all act like this is the Joey Bosa of the first 2 years of his career. It's not.
Go look at his stats.
What Mikey's hoping for. All right, I'm going to speak for you, Mikey, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I will absolutely correct you if you send the words in my mouth.
What Mikey's hoping for is we get the Joey Bosa, playoff Joey Bosa that he saw last year that got, 3 sacks in the game. I don't give a fuck what Joey Bosa does in the regular season. If he can stay healthy and bring it in the postseason, greatest fucking offseason signing ever. And I will eat crow all day. I don't give a shit if he has 1 sack all year, but he brings it in the playoffs. He fucking has 6 sacks in the playoffs when we go to Super Bowl. I will go best signing of all time.
Here's the deal. Joey Bosa in 2023 in 9 games had 6.5 sacks. Same pace as Von Miller when he got hurt. 6.5 sacks would have been second on our team last year. Last year in 14 games, he had 5 sacks and he played, half the season hurt. 5 sacks would have been second on our team last year.
Okay, but that's not great either. And I'm not happy that we only have a guy that would be 5 sacks second on our team.
His last double-digit sack was 2021, but that was his last full season where he was actually healthy.
Yeah. But Mikey, you get where I'm going. Like
I understand.
And I was joking with.
I think you're not. You're looking at the injuries as the overall stats. I'm looking at the production when he was on the field.
And I get that, and that's why I went with speaking for you. But you know what? I'll speak for me.
That's right. Don't speak.
If we can get, I don't give a shit what Joey Bosa does through the first whatever part of the season. If we get the healthy production of Joey Bosa in the playoffs, I'll tell you, Mikey, greatest signing ever.
That's right. That's right. Okay. And he will. I think we're going to slow play him to make sure he's healthy, especially with the deep rotation we have. There's no need for him to be out there 65, 70% getting beat up early season. Bubble wrap that dude until the playoffs and just let him loose.
Right. I'm with you. Like, yes, like, cool. Which we should have probably done with Von the first year. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Bubble wrap that motherfucker.
That motherfucker was like on a tear that first year until he tore his ACL. That dude was living up to that contract. Tore the ACL and
it was so funny how Team Vaughn was so packed, and then Team Non-Vaughn that year was full room. People wanted Vaughn gone.
Man, I really hope so, Scott. I hope he gets back to that force. Here's the thing: we also have new coaches and a new defensive line coach and things that have proven track records of getting the best out of these players and helping them grow. So I'm excited about that. You guys know what's fun to hang out with. We have a great time. Listen, this is a show for fans. Yep. Tommy and I are both going to be on here. We're not going to break down X's and O's and do all that stuff. We're not going to pretend like we're scouts. We're not going to do any of that stuff. If you want to just be a fan and talk like you would talk at a tailgate, this is the show for you. We're not everyone's cup of tea, and I understand that. And there's a lot of flavors out there in Bill's Mafia you can go listen to. But, we always have a good time. Mike. That's right. Don't make me stab you, Tommy. So don't talk for me. Catch a shank, brother. But yeah, it's one of those things, and we always appreciate you guys. Really, this show only goes because of the comments, feedback. Like, you guys run this show. Tommy and I walk in with like, hey, here's a kind of a topic. Let's talk about this. Outside of that, whatever you guys want to talk about, we talk about.
Absolutely. Yeah. The show flows how it goes with the chat.
There's a reason.
I'll be real with you.
Back in the day, there was a Team Tommy and a Team Mikey because we never agreed on anything.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about that. Team Tommy.
There was a Team Tommy and Team Mikey. We did not agree on anything.
No, very rare. But I think lately we've been more agreeing for the most. But we still. But I love it.
Yeah. We tend to agree more today than we did back then.
Yeah. I had some strong points. So do you. So
yeah, Josh Allen makes all players better just by him showing up to work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so excited that we're not going to have to call up Jordan Phillips and Q and Klein and all those aging vets that come in. We have such good depth this year that those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone.
Don't you ever disrespect Singletary in front of Tommy.
That's right. It's right.
Yeah, at least suspensions give them a decent chunk, the time to evaluate the new talent. I'll be interested to see what happens, especially if there's no injuries, if Obanjobi even has a job to come back to. Like Hoyt will, but maybe AJ loses his job then. Because Hoyt signed on a 3-year deal. Those are both 1-year deals. And if our young guys are doing it, why would you cut one of those guys for a 1-year thing? So it's wild.
Damn.
I'm Prison Mike.
How are we gonna roster them? That's a great freaking question. I'll be interested to see how that plays out. It's more entertaining than most Chiefs podcasts. That's why I'm here. Weston, we're glad you're here. You and G Picker are resident Chiefs fans that come in and give real content too in the chat.
Absolutely.
Not just here to troll. And we appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah.
This where is this? This is right. Oh, the pray through what? It's hypothetical. I hope pray through the seventh round turns out to be Puka. No. Right. Wouldn't that be wild? No one's even talking about him having a chance to make this team.
Can you imagine? This guy just bust out in the scene. We just can't get camp. They're like, this Prather and Josh this connection's unbelievable. 1,500 yards first year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a mess. A D-line Thunderdome. It's gonna be awesome. There's 6 interior defensive tackles, and there's 6 or 7 defensive ends that are all fighting for jobs.
Yeah, it's a busy room
for 11 jobs or something like that. Because we're probably at 11.
It's a busy room. That and also too, I gotta say, man, it could be trade. Some of these guys get traded because you might. I think Beane could swing some trades because. Why cut him if you can get something for him?
Tommy, we talked about this.
We did. And you know what, man? I'm not one of those guys that hate on Gabe like a lot of people. Like, I feel like he gets once again, like,
play?
No, I wouldn't want him. I'm just saying, like, I'm just going on the player. Like, I feel like Bills Mafia sometimes have been really tough on certain players that leave here. I don't get the Gabe hate. Like, I really don't. Gabe Davis was productive for a 4th round draft pick. He was productive. Nobody ever said when we drafted him, "Oh, Gabe Davis is going to be our number 2 for sure." He's going to be like. I thought he was productive. We moved on. It was fine. He got paid. Would I want him back? No. You know, because I like our receiver room. But if we didn't have any receivers,
the problem is none of our receivers play special teams.
No, I want to. Who are you talking to, me?
No, I'm saying. I was saying if we brought him back as wide receiver 6.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
No, if we did, that would
okay.
be where I would accept it. The problem is none of our receivers play special teams.
That is true. Yeah, good point.
And that's a problem.
Yeah.
You can't have a wide receiver 6 that doesn't play special teams.
Yeah. You know what's wrong with Gabe too? I got to say too, the only thing that set him back, I feel like injuries kind of derailed his career a little bit. He just cannot, for some reason, stay healthy. Like, but he's not.
It happened in Jacksonville too.
Yeah, and I also feel like Dable leaving kind of messed that up a little bit, like the offense a little bit. That rhythm they had, with Diggs, Davis, and Allen, and then Dorsey took over, and it was a little erratic, right? And then when Brady took over, it was like really like
what Brady wanted to do.
It did not, and I felt like he was trying. That's the whole when we were like, why is him and Allen? They're way off now, and I just feel like that was more scheme and frustration from that, and it just wasn't going to happen anymore. But like I said, the production we got out of him as a 4th round draft pick we never paid was really good. Same with Singletary. That's what I'm saying. I don't hate on certain players that leave here that gave production. I hate on players that were here that gave no production or
just didn't give
like
the effort.
Kelvin Benjamin. Of course I'm gonna hate on him. He was fucking asshole.
Butler, who came here, gave us nothing and took a lot of money and bounced.
Right. Trent Murphy. Right. Like those guys, I'm gonna continue to hate on him, but I hate on that signing.
Vaughn tried. Vaughn did his best. He just got hurt.
I agree. And he was, you know what? And I'll say this about Vaughn too. And it was a little bit like, I think it backfired on him at the end there, but he was always positive. Like always positive attitude. Yes. And I enjoyed that out of him. Like I really did like that. Like he was good on the mic. He was good, like teammates. Like he always backed everybody. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't a selfish guy. Like I enjoyed that from Vaughn. Like you never got that. It's I'm me. I want to be on the field all the time. Like he did whatever the coach asked him. And I respect that from Vaughn.
Sarah's like, yeah, Dayball leaving messed us all up.
Yeah.
So Mikey to bring up the pass to make it even can't break on. That was a little wild. Yeah. I want to go back up to one I saw up here. Give me 1 second. Let me find it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where'd it go? Oh, hypothetical. Right here. Robert said defensive line pass rush. Bosa, Groot, Jackson, and Solomon. Don't forget Hoyt. Hoyt's going to play a big part of what we do once he returns from suspension. I'm really high on Solomon's pass rush. I think he brings a different type of game than Bosa, Groot, and Jackson because he's truly the speed rusher, and he flashed last year. Like I really think AJ is fighting for a roster spot this year. I really do.
I do too. I like Hoyt too. I think Hoyt can go line up almost anywhere on the field, which I love.
He can play linebacker if you want him to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can. You literally could put him pretty much all over that line. But let's hope he's the same after not taking roids. Oh, no.
He's not Sean Merriman. Stop it.
Lights out Hoyt. All right. I remember Tommy saying there's going to be no difference, guys. He's just going to use the playbook that's given to him. Once Brady became the OC two seasons ago, and now he's an elite. I never said he's an elite. Me? I said I don't think he's elite. Matter of fact, me and Mikey, that's the one thing me and Mikey totally disagree on.
I think you're very wrong.
Yeah, he's not elite, Mikey. Listen.
You can have your opinion.
Yeah. There's no way he's
the right
elite.
one.
I get it, but he's the right one. Listen, here's my true feelings about Brady, and then you could tell me your true feelings about Brady. I think Brady is still on this learning curve in the NFL as far as being an OC. I know he was an OC at LSU, great, cool. 1 year with Carolina, it didn't work out. He's going on a year and a half with us now, or whatever. This is going to be his second full season. Mm-hmm. Here's my thing with him. I still think he's kind of grown, like getting over some speed bumps as an OC, as a kind of a newer OC. I think he's still trying to figure out player strengths and weaknesses and fit them in this offense that he wants us everybody eats, which I don't mind. I actually like it. It's working. But there were some things last year I didn't particularly like from him. I'm just saying, listen, no OC is going to be perfect, just like no coach, no GM. I get that. I'm just telling you, there were some things like last year I was like, you know what I mean? Even he admitted, like some post games, like, man, I could have been better. I should have done and I respect that. And I told you, I love when somebody can man up and go, hey, I got to do better, like as an OC. And I wish McDermott, to be honest with you, would do that. McDermott doesn't really do that much, right? Like, take responsibility, own it, and then change. And I feel like Brady is going to do that, Mikey. I feel like he's on the right path to be an excellent offensive coordinator. Right now, I feel like he's a really good coordinator on his path to be excellent. That's where I have Joe Brady at this moment in his career as an OC. But that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. He's on the right path. Okay. Yeah. I'm not hating on the guy.
I think he's already there. You know, what he was able to do with that offense, with the players that he had last year, and let's call it what it is. We didn't have elite skill players last year, and that's why Josh Allen won the MVP. It's because we had the best offense Buffalo's ever had in history with him calling the plays. Now, do I think there's still room for him to grow? Absolutely. Do I think he's one of the top 5 OCs in the game? Now, I say OCs, not head coaches, because you have the McVays and the Reeds who call the plays. I'm not saying true OC. I would say he's top 5 in the league.
And maybe you're right. I have to look. I'll be honest. I haven't dug around the offensive coordinator list, but you might be right on that.
But I'm far behind Ben Johnson, who was considered, bar none, one of the best OCs in football.
Now you see, here's the deal with Ben Johnson, and I think Ben Johnson was the best and is the best.
I did too, but I'm saying I don't put him far behind Ben Johnson.
But I'll be honest with you. Why I feel like Ben Johnson really thrived. He had a couple of things. He had a ton of weapons that could do multiple things. Mm-hmm. He also understood and I'm big on this, player strengths and weaknesses and how to use them correctly. Very big into that. And a lot of OCs don't recognize their player strengths and weaknesses, right? And I feel like Brady's still getting there with some of our guys, and he'll get there for sure. And once he does, that's why I'm saying I think this receiver group can be dangerous because everybody does something different. They bring something different to the table. If he can get them on the field and use them all differently, right? In different schemes. And bro, it could be really fun and exciting. And I feel like Ben Johnson did that very well in Detroit, how he schemed offensive plays. He used trick plays in the right moments. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like,
Brady did not.
When Brady tried, it was a total disaster, right? Like, he'll get there. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's what I mean about he's ascending. And once he finds that, and once he gets there and comfortable, then sky's the limit. He can be honestly,
once he gets there, he's gonna be a head coach.
And that's whatever. Good for him. I'm just saying.
I mean, honestly, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Sure.
Like, I think he's going to be a head coach next year. I think this is our last year with him. I really do.
Yeah.
As Sarah comes in and says, he's super clever and can just on fly, something Dorsey couldn't do. Robert says, I was a journeyman electrician for 10 years before I learned how to be general foreman. I get that. When I look at the OCs across the league, is he better than Moore, the one who just took the head coaching job with the Saints? I think he's a better OC than Moore was in Dallas and with the Eagles. You have to remember, you also look at what Moore had last year and the skill positions with Barkley and Brown and and Goddard.
Yeah, you got to add that in. Yeah.
And then you look at what Joe Brady did and the skill positions he had. Now, they weren't horrible by any means, but they weren't elite by any means either. I think you're going to see him take that next step this year because he has more skill players this year.
And I expect him
more,
to.
And I think that's where you were going with it earlier.
That's where I'm going with it. Yeah.
I already looked at him as an elite OC because I saw what he did with the skill players in college. I don't even look at that Carolina thing because he was saddled with crap from get-go.
I get it, but I'm not even bashing him about the Carolina thing. I'm just saying he's very young as far as being an OC, kind of like what Robert's saying about the electrician thing. I still feel like he's kind of finding his way a little bit as an OC, which is fine. He's doing it the right way, and he's ascending. But once he gets everything down, he's comfortable with calling different plays and getting more creative. That's the one thing too. I got to say, creativity I felt was a little weak. Yeah, and you know what that is? That tells me he's not nervous, but he's holding that back a little bit because he doesn't want to make a mistake, right? And you can't really be that way as an OC. But that's the youth OC. That's his inexperience. Once he gets comfortable, is what I'm saying, and he's really taken on that role as, hey, I got this. I'm going to call this play. I'm comfortable with it. Let's do it. He's going to really extend, and he can be an excellent OC. That's what I'm saying.
And I wonder if that has to do with the players that was around last year versus.
And it could be because you got to have the players to. Right, you have to have the guys to.
You have to have the horses to make it work.
Right. I agree.
Is right here. That was one thing that I had problems with Brady last year. Sometimes he just went to the well too much.
Yep.
Like I get Josh is our horse, but man, sometimes we just went to the well too much. And tell Josh to go freaking right one time.
Right. Or how about use your other running backs from time to time when you're in certain situations? Like,
stop pounding our MVP quarterback into the ground.
Right. Just like I said, switch it up here and there. Don't be so. Also, the other thing too, predictability. I felt at times he could be a little bit predictable. But once again, I feel like this is a learning curve for him. I feel he'll get better. And once he gets really familiar with this receiving corp, he'll get to know each player and what they provide or what they can do on the field. And then he'll open it up and start getting a little bit more creativity in his play.
I think that plays a part of it with McDermott wanting a certain type of offense. So he builds his offense to kind of how McDermott wants it, because in LSU, he threw the ball all over the place, but he had Chase and Jefferson he had all the weapons to do stuff. Like he's still building that in the NFL. And is your coach going to let you do that? Like he's building an offense in the mold that his head coach and GM have built the team. That's his job.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm
with you.
The tush push had huge injury potential. Yeah. Like Josh jumped over one time and landed on his head. Like I didn't like that. Like
there was one time he was like surfing, like crowd surfing. like, what is going on here?
And everyone knew he was going left. I don't understand why you wouldn't go between Torrance and Brown, the biggest, baddest on the road graders on your offensive line.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And stop stepping back and then going. Just push.
Not only that, like read the defense. Like understand what's going on here. They're like he should have known they were jumping like early. Like he should have had Allen hard count or like, you know what I mean? Like there's no reason to rush to the line there. Not to mention, like I said, in that game, if you don't rush to the line there, very possible that who's the ref guy that we have working for us as I don't know if he's still on the team.
Oh God, John Perry. Is it
Perry?
Is it Perry?
Perry, right?
I think it's Perry.
Yeah. He could have probably saw that Kincaid got the first down. It challenged it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like it was. I felt like it was a lot rushed in that, like, and that to me tells me that too is also an experience a little bit, right? At that time, like rush doing the same play over and over, not reading the defense, and how they're scheming you up. I felt like at times he fell into that trap a little bit, but he'll get better. Like I said, I feel like he can get better.
Done. That's hilarious. He's like, I didn't even see Brady in the draft room, probably because they were just defensive heavy. Like, I think
stay home.
He's never saw him on camera because he's like, what am I doing? We're not drafting any of my guys.
Right. Yeah. Hey, come on day 3. Maybe we'll grab somebody.
If you go back and watch the Truth Shows push, they don't hesitate. They just go.
Yeah.
And I ran the quarterback sneak in high school. I never hesitated. You go behind your center and your guard. You walk up to the line, you see where they're lined up, and you find where the crease is when you get up to the line.
You know who had a great, and I know you hate him, you know who had a great quarterback sneak? Tom Brady.
Yep.
He did it fucking great. Slow as molasses, but bro, he seemed to always pick it up. And it wasn't even a touch push. He just knew how to do it.
Peyton Manning was really good at it too.
He was, you're right. Yeah. They just knew how to like maneuver in that pocket just to get the couple yards. They did it great.
Yeah.
All the time. I would hate it. So frustrating when Tom Brady got those first downs.
Josh is a farm boy. Farm boys never get hurt when they land on their heads. Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
Hope they ban the touch push to piss off the Eagles.
They won't. And I hope they don't. I think there's no evidence that hurts players. We would think, but I have not seen any players get carted off because of that.
Okay. Yeah. Biggest win. I mean, when I ran it, it was how I was taught to run it. You get up there and you go, because if you wait, you give the chance for the defensive line to win the battle.
Read it. Yeah. Read it, set up.
Yeah. It's fine. Yep. It is what it is.
All right.
All right, Tommy.
I think it's
2:15. That's it. That's all.
That's all. All right, guys. Hey, it was an awesome show. Another awesome Friday night. Yeah, it was fun, man, with you guys, rocking with you guys. My schedule right now, Mikey, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I should be good to go every Friday night. So
sweet.
We will be here Friday night, and then eventually we will be here Monday and Fridays at 9:00. So you don't want to miss those. Wednesdays is Mafia Talk, and I'm hoping to get more people on this network, Mikey. I really am, man. We'll see, man. But anyways, man, we appreciate you guys rocking with us. We got big things coming up this offseason, more stuff I have in the works. And Mikey, it was always great time with you. And Bills Mafia, we love you. And as always, go Bills. We're out of here. Peace.
Oh.